It's a crazy day today. A woman was shot and killed in Minnesota. She was obstructing ICE operations, DHS operations with her vehicle. They made an attempt to arrest her. She made an attempt to flee with her vehicle, striking an officer who opened fire on her, shooting her through the windshield, killing her. The vehicle then pulls forward and just crashes. The woman is dead. You now have this ongoing debate, which I would argue is completely fake, where liberals are saying she was executed. The mayor of Minneapolis is saying there's no evidence it was self-defense. It's a lie. Now, this shouldn't have happened. It's unfortunate that it happened. I think it's fair if someone has the opinion the officer did not need to shoot her. But the fact is, she did hit him with her vehicle. Not at a high speed, but she did. She appears to have been trying to flee and evade arrest. She still put the officer in fear of death, and he opened fire on her. And the fact is, law enforcement does have, and any citizen does too, the right to use lethal force if they believe you are about to cause harm to someone else. It's defense of yourself or others. So I'll say it again. We don't want these things to happen, but we're going to play the videos for you. We're going to break it down. And now things are escalating. Governor Tim Walz says the National Guard is being prepared, insinuating, saying, we're not going to let the feds use our state as a prop. So what's the point of deploying the National Guard in that context? He's not saying we're going to stop the riots that have kicked off. He's saying we're going to fight the feds. That's where things are going. I think that the president needs to federalize the National Guard in Minnesota to prevent this from happening. But some are saying that this may actually kick off into greater riots. And this is a massive story that's probably going to dominate the majority of the show today. All of that being said, this morning, the U.S. seized 2 oil tankers, one of which I believe was Russian flagged, at least one. I'm not sure about the other one. And I thought that news was crazy enough. Now we've got people claiming Iran's in a revolution. And while all that crazy foreign policy stuff is going on, I'm sorry, ICE shooting and killing a middle-aged white woman in Minnesota who was attempting to obstruct and flee law enforcement, who actually struck a federal agent with their car, is one of the craziest circumstances of escalation we've seen in whatever it is you want to call it's going on. And everyone's got a word for it, and they're waiting for me to say it, but we'll get to that. We're going to talk about that and a lot more, my friends. Before we do, despite the seriousness of everything, we do have a great sponsor for you. It is Crowd Health. Go to joincrowdhealth.com. Use promo code TIM. It's open enrollment, the season where health insurance companies hope you'll blindly sign up again for overpriced premiums and confusing fine print. Don't just take someone else's word. Trust yourself and take control of your future with Crowd Health, the healthcare alternative for people who make their own decisions. Healthcare for under $100. You get access to a team of health bill negotiators, low-cost prescription and lab testing tools, as well as a database of low-cost, high-quality doctors vetted by Crowd Health. And what if something major happens? You pay the first $500, and the Crowd steps in to help fund the rest. It feels like the options we used to have before Obamacare messed everything up. And of course, you'll join the Crowd, a group of members just like you who want to help pay for each other's unexpected medical events. The system is betting you'll stay stuck in the same overpriced, overcomplicated mess. And this year, it's even more complicated because most of the ACA subsidies expire, which means your prices are going sky high. So far, Crowd Health members have saved over $40 million in healthcare expenses because they refuse to overpay for healthcare. This open enrollment, take your power back. Join Crowd Health to get started today for $99 for your first 3 months using code TIM. Go to joincrowdhealth.com. Use promo code TIM. Crowd Health is not insurance. Opt out. Take your power back. It's how we win. Joincrowdhealth.com. Don't forget to also smash that like button, share the show with everyone you know. And while this is not a formal sponsor, Chris Pavlovsky of Rumble does have an announcement that we want to get right at the top of the show.
You want to start with that?
Absolutely.
All right, let's start with it then.
But the quick minute elevator pitch
for sure,
to make sure it's at the top of the show.
So we just launched the Rumble Wallet, which is we're the first large platform to introduce Bitcoin tipping for creators. Not only with the Rumble Wallet can you tip Tim, you can also buy and you can swap and you can obviously tip your favorite creator in Bitcoin, USDT, which is backed by the US dollar, and XAUT, which is backed by gold. And that's kind of, Bitcoin obviously is my favorite, but I like the XAUT gold.
We'll get into this a lot more later on because this is just the quick promo section. But what I will say is the reason why I think this is amazing is it's like Venmo, but with crypto. So this is a gateway for regular people to trade US dollars through Tether or Bitcoin. So now if someone's like, hey, I got to pay you, I owe you money, you can use Rumble Wallet And now you've got the ease of switching between crypto and US dollars. So Chris Pavlovsky, CEO of Rumble, is here as one of our guests. I wanted to get this shout out right at the top because we're doing the promos, but it's going to be fun. Thanks for hanging out. We'll talk more about this in a little bit. Chrissy Mayer is here as well.
Yes, it's great to be here. I'm so excited. I don't know if she meant to hit him. Maybe just women drivers. Am I right? Maybe she just was driving.
So true.
Maybe she just was driving. Well, the Wikipedia entry initially wrote that she was trying to turn her car around.
Oof,
This is how
women
crazy it
do
is.
that thing where they'll turn extra. They'll turn out into the lane and then back.
Honestly, I've heard so many stories about women drivers accidentally nearly killing DHS agents. Just happens all the time.
If this had been a black woman, oh boy.
Well, we're certainly going to talk about it.
Or an Asian woman, that actually would have been perfect.
Everyone would have been like, oh, well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Asian and a woman?
Then we'd be criticizing the ICE officer.
He should have known better. Yikes. Well, it's going to be fun. Thanks for hanging out. Tate's
Good to
here.
be here.
What's up, guys? Tate Brown here, holding it down. Obviously, the host of the Noon Live. So happy to be here and get into all of these interesting stories.
Hello, everybody. My name is Phil Labonte. I'm the lead singer of the heavy metal band All That Remains. I'm an anti-communist and a counter-revolutionary. Let's get into it.
The first story we of course have for you: protesters in intense clash with agents after ICE-involved shooting in Minnesota. So riots have erupted. We've got all these crazy videos. I think we can play a little bit of this. You can, but what I really want to show you guys is the actual shooting in the context to break down what went down, how it went down.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Hey, get that guy.
So we'll jump back to the riots, but we've got a lot going on here. We've got the governor threatening to deploy National Guard against the feds, saying they're not going to let the feds use them as a prop, and he's preparing the National Guard. He called it a warning. But the question is, what happened? We've got this video. This is from Ashley Team Trump. Just in Minneapolis, shooting video has been released with footage slowed and zoomed in. DHS states the officer fired in self-defense. Despite what Mayor Frey and Governor Walz have said, the woman behind the wheel was killed. So we have this video that zooms in and slows things down. I want to say a few things as we get into this. The mayor and the governor are saying it wasn't self-defense. It was. It's not perfect self-defense. There's arguments, and I think it's a fine argument to say the officer did not need to fire, but he was struck by this vehicle. We'll play this for you. Donald Trump, however, additionally said that the man was run over. She said she violently, willfully, and visually ran over the officer. And then he says, based on the clip, it's hard to believe he's alive. That's ridiculous. That's not true either. See, this is how insane things are getting. But I will say this. You know why you want to know why I think Trump said that? Because they have continually lied about everything. And Trump's attitude is, if they're going to lie and manipulate people who don't pay attention, I'm playing the same game. I'm not a fan of that. I'll always tell you what I think is true based on the evidence we have. And I believe that's why Trump is doing it. Here's the video, slow mode in question. Normally, we don't play videos like this. Viewer discretion is advised. But this is one of the most substantial circumstances we've seen in a long time. ICE killing a U.S. citizen, a woman who is obstructing law enforcement. And it's become the subject of great debate as to whether or not this officer was actually struck or was justified. We have a photo of the vehicle after the fact. We have witness statements. So I'm going to show you, and we're going to break down what's true. Here's the video clip. This is a secondary video that's grainy and hard to see, but the officer is right here. We'll go back. I just want you guys to watch it first before I provide context. So the audio is clearly desynced on that last one, but let's start here. I want you guys to pay attention to one thing. First of all, the vehicle is driving straight forward right now. Take a look at the direction of the wheels. They are aimed left. Many liberals have said she was clearly turning right. She is not clearly turning right. If you are the officer standing in front of the vehicle, you see her wheels turning to your right, to her left. She then begins to pull forward. You can see the wheels spin out. Look at that front wheel. It's front wheel drive, spins out as she goes directly forward. Then the wheels start turning to the right. Watch the officer. Let's see. Watch the officer's foot right here as I play this very slowly, and you'll see it slide. See his foot sliding? Both his feet are sliding. How is that possible? Can he moonwalk with both feet at the same time? No, he's being pushed by the car. Swiped. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that she slammed into him and he went flying through the air, but she did hit the officer, who then opens fire, shooting her through the windshield. He continues to fire afterwards. Now, there's an argument to be made about whether or not he should have, but law enforcement does have, in a circumstance where they believe an individual is a threat to others, the legal right to use lethal force. By all means. You can say, well, I don't agree with that in this instance. Fine. But there are people pretending like it's not the case. When we go to this video here, you can clearly see the same thing again. The car makes contact with the officer, who then slides backwards. He is being hit by that vehicle, for which he then opens fire. The vehicle then pulls forward, crashes, and just goes out. The one's gone. This is the vehicle having crashed into a pole, and you can see where the bullet went through the windshield. The officer was clearly in front of the vehicle. Now, I got no problem saying it doesn't appear that she was trying to kill the officer. In this video, it appears that what actually happened is they approached, she was obstructing law enforcement. They made an effort to pull her out of her vehicle, and they said, stop the car, get out of the vehicle. She attempts to flee. She does, however, drive straight at an officer. So I want to make sure this is very, very clear for everybody, because I am sick of the propaganda and the lies. And there are even people on the right that are trying to act like this was not self-defense on the part of the officer. By all means, call it imperfect self-defense. That's fine. But watch the front tire of this vehicle. I'm going to show you this one more time. It spins out. See that? If you're the officer standing in front, you hear a as the wheels are pointed straight at you. This is not the car trying to turn left and turn around. Let me pull up this. Let me see where I have this this tweet.
Yeah, it's not even backing up.
Where from Wikipedia. Let's see. Do I have? I thought I had it pulled up. I'll have to find. I got so many tweets pulled up from all the different stories. Wikipedia, in one of these posts, we've got more videos. Where did I put that? There we go. On Wikipedia, they initially wrote. Actually, it's easier to see if I don't zoom in. It says. The shooting took place on Portland Avenue between East 33rd and 34th Street. According to witnesses, a total of 4 ICE agents in 2 vehicles, a Titan, a Suburban, surrounded a red Honda Pilot. The woman was trying to turn her car around when an ICE agent fired into the vehicle. So let me just stress again how important this is, that her wheels spin out directly aimed at the officer. Is it fair to say, especially if you show this to a jury, this officer feared he was about to be struck and killed? Yes, I certainly think so. There's a lot more to break down. Instead of me ranting for another 20 minutes, I'll just throw it to you guys and ask you what you think and open up the conversation. But then we'll get into all the National Guard, the riots, where this goes.
Yeah, well, this goes back to like this conversation that us on the right have had a million times with the left, is which comply with police officers. It's really not complicated. It's not rocket science. These sorts of escalations happen because these people just are not following simple commands. Yeah. And the blood is really on the hands of Democrats who have been for months, for years, saying, don't comply with ICE, resist ICE, these sorts of things. They've been putting this idea in these people's heads that this is some sort of like Gestapo going around and black bagging people. Not what's happening. This is all being done by the book, by popular mandate, by the way. So this sort of stuff is going to happen when you're just implanting in these people's heads this idea that like you're resisting fascism. And if you don't go out there and obstruct these police officers or these officers of the law, then, you know, this fascist takeover is going to occur in the United States. So it's just completely ridiculous. Trump's framing is great. I mean, you know, you could maybe say I don't know if he got brutally ran over, but it's certainly true that the officer is lucky to be alive, because if this car did in fact run over this officer and kill him, they would be celebrating this. It would be like Charlie Kirk 2.0.
I would add.
Sorry, just real quick, because the tire spin out is everything. And Tate, you are correct. That tire spin out, if it wasn't icy ground, would have been a dead federal agent.
If it was the summer, he'd be under that tire now. Right. And then they would have a vigil with the trampled ICE officer effigy everywhere. They'd be Charlie Kirk 2.0.
Yeah. Look,
No, that's exactly what I was going to say. Like that was this person attempted.
She's getting ready to go.
To run over the officer. You imagine having like multiple officers around your car. You step on the wheel like that. Like, there's going to be consequences to that.
I genuinely don't believe she was trying to kill an officer. I think she was a 37-year-old white, affluent white female liberal. That's the acronym. I'm not trying to be a dick. I think she was trying to flee. However, that doesn't matter. If you're in a vehicle and you press the gas and you're aimed at somebody, the wheel does turn right. She is trying to evade arrest. If in the course of committing a crime, you attempt to evade arrest, killing or almost killing an officer, you are getting charged for that attempt. And they're going to say, listen, first, it's not incumbent upon the officer who's watching the tires spin out, pointed straight at him, to stop and go, let me use my psychic powers to determine her intent. She doesn't want to kill me. No, he's like, holy crap, I'm going to die. Yep. And then you can argue when he sidesteps, he shoots 2 more times. Now, by all means, I think there's a fair debate to say who's on the right side of the vehicle. Is there a real perceived threat from this woman? I want to make sure this context is clear. Law enforcement can shoot you in the back as you run away if you are a threat to other people. There are tons of videos of guys with guns running towards someone and the cops shoot him in the back. You can watch these. They're on Instagram. They're all over the place. The other thing to understand in this context is the one thing that the liberals and the progressives are lying about. We've had multiple terror attacks against ICE already. So the presumption is if you're in a car and you slam the gas and the wheels spin out pointed at you, meaning if it wasn't for the ICE, you'd be dead, a cop is going to make the assumption this is another terror attack from the far left, and this person may kill someone else. Or in icy ground, speeding away from law enforcement may kill a bystander in the street. That's the reality of what we're dealing with. The left wants to celebrate Charlie Kirk's death. They want to mock the death of Ashley Babbitt. And then when this woman tries to flee law enforcement, and we've got witness testimony, they're calling her a legal observer. She was an active participant according to witnesses. They're lying. I'm just going to say it, guys. When the governor and the mayor come out and say they're ready to fight the feds and they lie about what happens, civil war.
This is a good example to prove that black ice matters. And if it weren't for that black ice, he wouldn't be here today.
I think it's funny because it's true, though.
A good solution to all this is like just have white liberal women drive the getaway cars for all the illegals. Is that too dark?
No, I like the proposal.
I'll go back to the black ice.
I'm with you. I'm not
It's funny because it's like you're making us laugh as we're talking about this horrific thing.
It's the only way I can cope.
But there is like something to be said about the fact that the foot soldiers for this sort of leftist resistance are like middle-aged moms. It's like, shouldn't you be popping a VHS into the player and having a glass of wine? What are you doing on the front lines going at it with federal agents? Like that really epitomizes everything wrong.
They have to be the hero for minorities because I guess they don't have enough agency on their own. They need liberal white women to fight all their battles for them.
The left wants those women out front because then this kind of stuff happens. Not because they're gonna not making a joke about women drivers, but the point is like if you have women on the front lines and they're out there, they feel like they're above the law. They feel like, well, they wouldn't do anything to me because I'm a woman because they've been basically fed that line for their entire life. And so they think they can get away with whatever they do. They're not going to be charged, or that the justice system will be lenient on them. And the left wants them out front. They do this kind of stuff. They were doing it during the George Floyd riots. They had moms out front of some of the rioters. They had holding up signs and stuff. They do that because they want that kind of imagery where an ICE officer is beating up a woman or shoots a woman or something like that because it's really, really good for the propaganda. It's similar to when they have people dress up in those silly costumes because what they want is the cops grabbing a guy that's dressed up in a Pikachu costume because it looks absurd.
What they want is a guy on the ground saying mama, mama over and over again as he dies from fentanyl overdose, which is totally unrelated to anything and it's something I made up.
But the point is they want that. It's all about getting the propaganda
and the optics.
Yeah, well,
indeed.
Yeah, those 2 liberal white women that were behind the Somali woman when she had that, fraud is bad. And they were like, it's okay. Sit down. We'll take care of it.
Literally.
I want to jump to this next story. My friends from ABC News, civil war is back on the menu. Minnesota governor says he is preparing National Guard amid furor over fatal ICE shooting. Indeed, let me play the video for you so you can hear it for yourself and interpret it as you would like to.
And these National Guard troops are our National Guard troops. They're teachers in your community. They're business owners. They're construction professionals. They are Minnesotans. Minnesota will not allow our community to be used as a prop in a national political fight. We will not take the bait. We will continue to update you, Minnesota, as we get more information. Now I'd like to turn it over to Commissioner Porter to prepare the Minnesota National Guard. We have soldiers in training and prepared to be deployed if necessary. I remind you, a warning order is a heads up for folks. And these National Guard troops are our
So
National
it started
Guard
from
troops.
the middle, but basically what he said is we're prepared to deploy the National Guard, and we will not allow the federal government to use it as a prop. For what purpose would the governor deploy National Guard right now? Is he going to deploy the National Guard against the protesters angry at ICE when he said, ICE, get out? No. He's making it clear that he intends to use National Guard against the federal government to remove ICE. Jacob Frey said, get the F out of Minneapolis. I fear that if Donald Trump does not immediately move to federalize the Minnesota National Guard, they will be dispatched, maybe not directly, but intentionally to fight the federal government.
Yeah, I mean, this is how you can tell that this isn't actually a debate over the legitimacy of the shooting or what the legality is. He had the talking points ready to go. He had his strategy ready to go, and he was just waiting for finally a cause has finally come about where I can actually, grind this axe that I have with the Trump administration over. I said it has nothing to do with this lady. I mean, this lady is just the cannon fodder for what he's actually trying to do. And he's probably relieved when he saw it. He's
so
like,
happy
finally, I have
that
a justification
Yeah,
to...
it's not about the fraud for one moment.
Yeah.
Who does he think he is? He can just waltz in there and order more troops.
But I also want to play this clip as well. Governor Walz has called on people to take to the streets. We are now in the territory of overt sedition. I mean, this is not me being cute.
Yep.
It's crazy. I posted a video of the shooting, and I kept the language as dry as possible. Breaking, video shows moment, individual is shot and killed by DHS. Vehicle accelerates. I said vehicle accelerates towards officer, who then opens fire as he sidesteps. And people are like, "You're lying." Liberals were like, "You're lying," and I'm like, "I the video shows it." Here's Tim Walz now calling for an uprising. I can't hear the question that's being asked, but let's jump ahead.
Following this week, seeing what's happening in the backdrop of a show hearing in D.C., my job is to govern, and my job is to see what the facts are. This happened a couple of hours ago, and we're already pitting American against American. All of you saw a video in your eyes. We have a chaotic situation caused by the largest deployment in American history of federal agents into a community with no communication to locals. We had a chaotic situation where an individual is in their car, shot and killed. And so, look, I want to be very cautious here because Donald Trump will make this about me. He will make this about politics. This is about public safety, and this is about normalcy. To Americans who are watching this, if you're in Portland or you're in LA or you're in Chicago or you're wherever they're coming next, stand with us. Stand with us against this. This was so preventable, so unnecessary, and I don't know. I hope. Maybe we're at the McCarthy moment. Do you have no decency? Do you have no decency?
So my question to you guys is, I mean, like, what would you call it when a governor threatens to deploy the National Guard to stop the federal government from using him as a prop, and then he calls on Portland, LA, Chicago to stand with us against this? I know it's just more rhetoric, and maybe it fizzles here, but we have already seen efforts to stop Trump deploying National Guard, which is within his rights and purview as president, into various states to enforce the law in areas where he's allowed to, or under the protective principle, which is not to enforce the law, but to protect federal buildings. That's largely what Trump has been doing. The federal agents, I should say, to clarify, were deployed for law enforcement. Now, this is, once again, we've already got blue state governors trying to stop Trump from taking control of the National Guard, stop him from deploying law enforcement to enforce the law. And now Tim Walz calling on other blue areas to stand with them because they're coming next.
And he's got the Somali flag up instead of the Minnesota flag. And this sign language person is completely upstaging him.
That's usually the case.
It's like it's like the trans version of him. I couldn't take my eyes off of it. Them.
Well, the sign language people are always overly more expressive. And so that's why everybody's always like, how come the sign language person outshine? Well, they're supposed to, because in sign language, you're like really getting the emotion across. It's like
get the point.
They're trying to get their next gig.
Yeah. I will also say, too, because I know there's going to be a leftist fact check, The flag behind Tim Walz is the new flag of Minnesota, which closely resembles one of the regional flags of Somalia.
Yikes.
Yeah, it's one of the regions of Somalia has a specific flag. It's like a Somali state flag of some sort, and it very much looks just like that.
Wow.
Yep. So, man, you know what I can say is we've been talking about the rift between the right factions of the right, the retard right, and the regular right. I guess we can call it. That was you, right, Tate?
Yep.
Yeah. A lot of the retard right's taking the side of the woman. Like they're going full liberal.
They're just contrarians. They're just natural contrarians.
Yeah. There's a sect of people on the right that are just basically anti-Trump and are moving to never Trumper. Mm-hmm. And these were people who were like very much populist right for a while, but now they're I guess the retard right.
Yep. Yeah. They're spiritually leftist. They don't actually acknowledge sort of the actual undercurrent of right-wing thought, sort of hierarchy, these sorts of things. These are people that, you know, I said it yesterday, the right-wing thought, you know, for a while was kind of sexy and edgy, and it was in some regards low risk to believe in, because you actually, for the longest time, we didn't expect us to be ruling again. Like during the Biden winter, it kind of felt like it was over in a lot of ways. And then now with the Trump administration has emerged, Trump 2, never surrender, these sorts of things, we're in power again. And these people go, oh, wait, no, I didn't think we were actually going to be in power. I wanted to be a contrarian for the rest of my life because it feels good. It makes me feel like I know something that everyone else doesn't.
Yeah.
It's like you have the luxury to believe in that and be a right-tard. What did you say? A retard?
Retard right.
Retard
Yeah.
right.
The retard right, like Candace Owens.
I think Pat Casey
One
coined
example.
that, so I want to give him a shout out, but
Oh, okay.
he certainly popularized it.
He's great. The whole contrarian thing is something that I think that we need to pay attention to, because it doesn't matter who's in charge. They're just going to be saying, well, I don't like them. And that's one of the things that drives me nuts about libertarians. It's like they're so anti-government that even when there's an administration that's in office doing good things, they're still going to find something to complain about, because their whole identity is wrapped up in, well, I'm against the government. I'm against the government, period, which means they don't even like when the government does good things, or when there are good things happening for your country, they can't even accept wins, you know? And it's really, really detrimental to the whole country. Totally. They'll align with leftists if they have to. It doesn't matter.
Well, because they have an ideology that's so niche and so abstract and requires like very specific circumstances to actually come to fruition. And so they know that that's never going to happen. So they're always going to nitpick. But it's like, dude, you're super based anarcho-capitalist libertarianism, probably not going to happen in the United States anytime soon. So if that's your standard, your expectation is like perfection and complete alignment with your ideology, you're going to always be dissatisfied. Like, you don't think we're all making concessions every here and there? Because that's how politics work. You have to have a central guiding philosophy, and then you identify what's the most viable political vehicle that's going to deliver me what I want.
Yep.
It's politics 101.
And they're not interested in anything other than the purity test.
Because they're naturally not prudent. That's why they say retarded stuff all the time. Because they don't understand prudence. They don't understand pragmatism. They just want to be loud and boisterous and have fun. And it's like, well, when we're talking about the future of the country, we're talking about my kids' country.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in fun. I'm interested in winning.
Yeah.
There's also the way things that I've been seeing is there's a lot of influence operations happening as well. Like who's being bought to say certain things. And we don't really know where the authenticity is on a lot of people. And there's a lot of people in this segment that you might be speaking about that are being bought and paid for. And you might only see this on X. You might not see this in their shows. You might only see it in certain places because that's where where they're getting paid to do it.
There are some personalities that strangely on one platform are pro-Trump and on other platforms are anti-Trump. And I know I get a lot of comments. They're like, Tim, say who these people are. It may be in good time, because we already have, I'm not a big fan of drama, and I already have enough drama because I've been ragging on a certain individual quite a bit. But there's a handful of prominent conservative personalities that on X have been going pretty anti-Trump. And the reason is management companies run their social media. And so full disclosure, on Facebook, this is really funny. I was arguing with this guy. And he was like, you put this video up on Facebook that, said this thing. And I was like, I don't run my Facebook. It's a management company. Like we have a management company that when I post shows and we make clips, they will take them and then post them when they think it makes the most sense. I don't have them change my opinions or pretend to be me. They post clips of my show with a quote from me. However, this means that a clip from 3 months ago might be posted tomorrow because it works well on Facebook. That's true. People do that. There are some people, however, who they have management companies that will post whatever gets the most interaction. So you'll follow someone on Facebook and they'll be very pro-Trump like crazy. You'll follow them on X and they'll be very anti-Trump because of a management company running both their accounts and going whatever gets the most engagement. And that's the world we're living in authenticity, and it's all for money. So we say retard right because we're trying to be intentionally derisive, but it may just be the
Compromised, right?
for cash. You know what I mean? There you go.
Schizo, right? No matter what adjective you use, it's going to be like derisive. They're inherently...
But the accounts are shells. You think you're following the real opinion. Look, I post all of my things on my X. That's why sometimes I post things that are stupid and offensive because I'm screwing with people. But a lot of these guys you follow, and ladies, they're not actually posting this stuff. Some of it's totally fine, right? Like Benny Johnson clearly has a social media person who does breaking news for him. Totally fine. That's normal stuff. We have a social media person who does our Timcast news, and we're talking about having him post breaking news on my personal page as well. But I'm kind of like, it's a coin toss because it's my account. I don't know. Maybe we'll do that. That's fine. But when you hire a company to make opinions for you, that's where things are getting weird. Mm-hmm. We're going to jump to this next story, my friends. And I'm going to say this. It looks like the incident in Minnesota where the woman was shot and killed by DHS was intentional, planned, and coordinated by leftists. Now, I don't know if the left intended for her to be killed, but they certainly had planned an operation based on the evidence that we have now from Kristi Noem, as well as statements from the purported wife of the woman who died. I'll start with this from the Daily Wire.
Lesbian?
Indeed.
Even better.
The Daily Wire says, Secretary Noem says the woman killed in today's Minneapolis shooting had been stalking and impeding agents. Agents worked throughout the day. She then proceeded to weaponize her vehicle in an attempt to run a law enforcement officer over, an act of domestic terrorism. Let's play the clip.
Because of the adverse weather that Minneapolis has seen in recent snow, one of the vehicles became stuck and ensnared in the snow. Law enforcement were attempting to push out this vehicle, and when a mob of agitators that were harassing them all day began blocking them in, shouting at them, and impeding law enforcement operations. ICE officers and agents approached the vehicle of the individual in question, who was blocking the officers in with her vehicle, and she had been stalking and impeding their work all throughout the day. ICE agents repeatedly ordered her to get out of the car and to stop obstructing law enforcement, but she refused to obey their commands. She then proceeded to weaponize her vehicle and attempted to run a law enforcement officer over. This appears as an attempt to kill or to cause bodily harm to agents, an act of domestic terrorism. The ICE officer, fearing for his life and the other officers around him and the safety of the public, fired defensive shots. He used his training to save his own life and that of his colleagues. He was treated at a local hospital, has been released, and is now with family.
So I want to make sure that I want to show you one more thing before we get into. I want to exemplify what she's saying. We have this post from Kaneko the Great, breaking: the wife of Renee Nicole Good, the 37-year-old Minneapolis shooting victim who appeared to run over an ICE officer. I'm just going to pause there, and with all due respect, I'm going to clarify the context here. I wouldn't call the person a victim. This is a perpetrator. And you can make the argument all day and night about whether the cop needed to, but this is a person in a vehicle evading arrest. Okay, they appear. The wife of the individual appears to have been outside the vehicle filming as her wife blocked ICE vehicles, wearing a flannel shirt, saying, "That's my wife." Here's the video clip in question.
Get the fuck out of our neighborhood!
The fuck? You just
Get my back!
This lady got blood. They don't. She was in the car with her, bro. Or she tried to save her or something. Somebody. Hey, was you riding with her? Did you call any of your peoples yet?
We're new here. I don't have people.
So you don't got none of her family members or anybody number? Do you know anybody on her Facebook? All right. Damn.
So this woman gets out of the vehicle while her wife, she says, is obstructing ICE and is filming it. I don't know if I have there's another video, but I'm not sure if I have it pulled up. Jack Posobiec says, it is now starting to appear like the agitators in Minneapolis deliberately staged this provocation, looking to entrap ICE agents. They followed ICE all day. One blockaded the road while others stood outside filming. As seen in the video, 4 ramming incidents occurred just today. Now, I want to go back because some people who are watching the segment may say, no way, she was just turning. She wasn't trying to ram the officer. And I'm going to show you this video again. Here's an officer right here. This is the officer who fired the shot standing in front of the vehicle. You can now see, as I slowly play this, the front tire is spinning out as the wheels are aimed towards the officer. So when Kristi Noem says she was attempting to hit the officer, this is why that perception exists. The wheels spin out, and then she turns right. Some have argued that it's because he aimed the gun at her, she spun the wheel to the right. But I will say this. He draws his weapon as the vehicle is moving towards him after the tire already spun out. Okay? I want to stress, if it were not for the ice, the vehicle would have run him over. Anybody saying otherwise is lying. I'm going to play it 500 million times. I'm going to go for it. It zooms in. Here you go. Once again, watch the tires spin out. She's attempting to accelerate into the officer. He then draws his weapon. She then turns right. I think it's because he aimed the gun at her, she spun the wheel to the right. I don't know that I believe she's attempting to kill him, but it's really hard to argue when you see that wheel spin out. So when Kristi Noem says, this is what they were doing, you take all these things and factor them together. There have already been several terror attacks against ICE agents. This is all throughout last year. They ambushed ICE agents. Why would I give these people the benefit of the doubt?
Yep.
No, they weren't trying to run him over. She accidentally hit the gas and the wheels spun out on the ice.
There were multiple attacks against there was one at the Bortak facility. They got in a gunfight with lost a gunfight with the Bortak guys. There was the shooting where there was, I think, 3 illegals killed because
in Dallas, right?
Yeah, and because Antifa decided they were going to post up and start taking pot shots at ICE officers. To think that tensions aren't high and this kind of stuff is going to be just met with, okay, we'll go on by. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, you really need to understand the situation that the ICE officers are in. They've been fighting with people all day. They've got people throwing there was people throwing snowballs at them earlier in the day. I mean, look, if you're the ICE officer and this person hits the gas and you're in front of the car, you're going to do what you need to do to defend yourself.
Watch the left spin it like, oh, she was just a lesbian trying to get to Home Depot before it closed.
Literally.
But look at the flannel.
She wasn't driving a Subaru, so I think the jury's still out on the lesbian thing.
True.
Well, the interesting, I think what the ICE officer is thinking is what everyone in the audience is thinking is like, 'cause this is what normal people do, is if an agent draws a gun on you and you're sitting in a car, what you do is you put your hands up. Like, you're like, oh, please don't shoot me. Oh my gosh, please don't shoot me. You put your foot on the brake. Like, you better stand. What you don't do is like turn into wheelman and try to get out of there. That tells me this is someone that has been brainwashed so much by this propaganda that they literally don't view these people as real human beings. They view them as like autonomous mega kill bots.
They've been told like stop these people at all costs. Like do whatever you have to do.
Yeah, well, and they're convinced because they're just brainwashed. So they're convinced this person is literally a Gestapo agent trying to kill them.
Just screaming Nazi at them.
Anyone that decides that they're going to fight the cops, and I was talking about this in the pre-show today. Like, look, people love to say fight the power and say, oh, you shouldn't be a bootlegger and stuff. The term fight the power doesn't mean fight the cops, because behind the cop that you're fighting is a bunch more cops, right? Like, you're not going to win. Fight the power, fight it in court. That's the only way to actually win. Otherwise, you're just going to end up fighting all the cops. And at some point, the cops are going to decide, we're done fighting with you, and they're going to put you on the ground, and they're going to wrap you up.
Yeah, and what power are you even fighting? Like, the apparatus that's trying to conduct mass deportations because they're trying to mop up the mess of, like, the entire global elite who seek to flood the country with cheap... Like, it's just, like, the incentive structures are completely, like, disarray. They just see badge, and they say, oh, badge, I saw in a movie, that's the power. Like, I'm in a Marvel movie, I'm, like, a heckin' superhero, and that's the enemy. And it's like
this decade-long, like, resist campaign, that started ever since Trump came out.
It's ridiculous.
I want to highlight some of this commentary that we've been seeing on X. This is Pedro L. Gonzalez. He says, the best video evidence right now shows ICE shot a woman while she was attempting to drive away from rather than run over a federal agent. As we've already proven to you, that doesn't appear to be the case. And I've even said, I don't believe she was intentionally trying to kill the officer, but with the tire spin out, it does look like she was accelerating into him. That being said, he goes on to say, unless something else comes out, a trigger-happy Fed just executed an American citizen, and the Trump admin wants to cover it up. This isn't partisan. If you think it's partisan, demand transparency and accountability from government in cases like these, you have terminal brainworms. He then says, you're going to see the same people who say Ashley Babbitt What just okay? You're going to see the same people who say Ashley Babbitt was martyred insist that this woman deserved to be shot dead. I am actually sympathetic to Babbitt because I think she was brainwashed into getting herself killed. I did not and would never rejoice in someone like that dying, and I am not now in this case, though many on the new right are all too happy about it. To which my response was, looking through a window is not the same as driving an SUV.
Literally.
That's a fact statement. This woman's driving an SUV. It's not a justification of the shooting. It's not to say that Trump is right, his administration is right, or ICE is right. Ashley Babbitt, there was a broken window, and she stepped onto the trim of this like window between the door and looked through the window. She could not climb through it. It was not big enough. And she was shot by an officer in the neck as she looked through a window. That's insane. This woman is in a vehicle accelerating towards an officer, hitting him. I am not suggesting he should have shot her, and there's a debate about it, but it's clear she was driving an SUV and hit him. These are two different things. Here's a response we get. Shannon Joy says, you are wrong. I am? Really? Looking through a window and driving an SUV are the same thing. Well, next time I want to go home from work, I'm just going to look through the window and then instantly be in my house. How about that? Said she was obviously fleeing the scene. She turned her wheel to avoid the agent after he pointed a gun at her, but not before. Her vehicle grazed him. Indeed, he jumped back and his buddy thug shot her in the face. No, he did, not his buddy. The bullet went straight through the windshield. Why are there so many people on the right pretending like this? She says, I wish you talkers would stop making everything about protecting Trump. We live in retard
Trump
world.
wasn't in
Isn't that
Minneapolis.
Trump?
Trump was not there.
Well, Pedro
Exactly. And I never said anything about Trump. All I said was looking through a window is not the same thing as driving an SUV. The circumstances here are different and there are nuance in these arguments. So if you were like, hey, Michael Burr, that was his name, right? The cop who shot her, should not have shot Ashley Babbitt because she was just looking through a window. I say, okay, I get that. You could even say, I don't think this cop should have shot the woman driving the car because he could have gotten out of the way. I say, okay. But if you come to me and say, well, in this circumstance, he's scared. She's driving a vehicle and she accelerated towards him, so he feared for his life. I go, I understand that. Why would a cop, what's the argument that the cop feared for his life because Ashley Babbitt looked through a window? Sorry, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, he tweeted this 6 hours ago. So this is like right as the story broke. People didn't even have the zoom in footage yet. Right. And Pedro Gonzalez, he's like an 8-ball where you just shake it up, you give him a Trump take, and it's going to be anti-Trump no matter what happens. And it's like emblematic of the retard right, where again the incentive structures right now point towards giving some edgy, esoteric criticisms of the Trump administration because we must be getting duped or then we must be fooled because there's no way our guys are in power. Yes, our guys are in power. It's not perfect. It's not always going to be like a slam dunk. But the reality is everything is directionally correct. We are moving the football down the field. And these guys panicked because they're like, my money is made on being a contrarian. So now I got to defend this lady who's trying to kill an ICE agent by all accounts, or certainly was committing an action that would lead to the death of an ICE agent. So it's just so ridiculous. I have no time for these people anymore.
None of this would have happened if she had just told the cops that she couldn't breathe.
Yeah, literally. That's what they're saying. George Floyd is the new, new description of this woman.
Georgina Floyd.
If you're in the perspective of that officer, he's standing in front of the vehicle completely. He can't even see he probably can't see the tires. All he's hearing is these tires spinning and coming at him. And that's his perspective. And like he's in the front of the vehicle. This lady sees him in the front of the at the front of the vehicle and accelerates.
After they've been like harassed all day.
And after she's not complying.
This makes me very sympathetic to Hillary Clinton because like her worldview of people are retards, so I should lord over them. I'm like, well, so many retards are tweeting like, why didn't the cop just know? Well, you're watching a video in slow motion. The cop is standing in front of a car. He hears the engine rev and the tires squeal. And so he's like, I'm about to get run over. People watch online videos in slow-mo hours later and go, wow, I would have done something different.
These people are plagued by literacy. They should have never been allowed. Pedro Gonzalez, the biggest mistake was like teaching him to eat with a fork and read. Like biggest mistake on planet Earth.
I take back my 60 cents a day.
Yeah. I think Mary Morgan literally argues that literacy was a mistake.
Yeah.
Because people can read the word but not understand the meaning.
Yeah.
And now you get this.
Yeah, they're like an alligator just reacting to stimuli. They're not actually processing the information. They're just like, oh, Trump's on there. Oh,
Are you saying he should eat rice with his hands?
With a name like Pedro Gonzalez, I wouldn't be, Maybe. But it's really these people just cannot actually. Like I said, it was 6 hours ago. So that was his instant reaction was, which side is Trump on? Okay, I'm taking the opposite side. No, like I sat back and I was like, I don't know, maybe something happened here. I sat back and like let a few hours go by before I like analyzed it. By then we had the zoom in footage, a few different angles. There's some people that were experts on the situation weighed in. And then like Tim saying, as soon as you see the tire spin, oh, it's over, done. It's justified.
All right, let's rag on Trump maybe a little bit, because we've got this post from Trump on Truth where he says, I have just viewed the clip of the event which took place in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Is a horrible thing to watch. The woman screaming was obviously a professional agitator, and the woman driving the car was very disorderly, obstructing and resisting, who then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer, who seems to have shot her in self-defense. Based on the attached clip, it is hard to believe he is alive, but is now recovering in the hospital. The situation is being studied in its entirety, but the reason these incidents are happening is because the radical left is threatening, assaulting, and targeting our law enforcement officers and ICE agents on a daily basis. They are just trying to do the job of making America safe. We need to stand by and protect our law enforcement officers from this radical left movement of violence and hate. So let me just break this down. He does play the clip. Trump actually posted the clip, which we've seen. And you can see here the officer, the vehicle slams into him. He slides backwards. Yet the guy was not run over.
No.
Nor is he recovering in the hospital. He was discharged already because he probably doesn't have any injuries at all. It actually does look like he might have twisted his ankle or knee or something because he was limping a little bit. But I don't know. That's just maybe not. Why is Trump overtly lying like this? Well, here's what I'm going to say. I understand the idea that the left is lying about everything. So if you keep doing half measures and say they're lying, it's not what happened, and the left just says, no, they're lying, you have two versions of reality. One where a cop probably shouldn't have shot her, but we understand why he may have feared for his life. And one where Nazi Gestapo executed an American citizen trying to turn her car around. Trump is making this assessment, in my view, where he's like, if the debate is, no, it was a clean shoot, but, maybe he wasn't going to get run over, or it's a Gestapo, you're losing the argument. Trump's basically saying, nah, we're going to create our own version of reality the same way they are. And we're going to say she ran him over and I'm surprised he's alive. This is doing what they do against them. The problem I have with it, I succeed in convincing people by proving the left lied, like the Very Fine People hoax. The problem with a post like this, there's going to be some liberal guy who hates Trump and he's going to say, do you see Trump claim that she ran him over and he is lucky to be alive? What am I going to do? Show the video where it proves Trump wrong? Yeah, this does not work against the left. We have had this argument time and time again over the past several years when people have said, why doesn't the right do what the left does? Listen, the reason why I can't lie to you is because you're not stupid. Some of these people on the left and some of these people not paying attention are, but the average person consuming right-leaning media or moderate content, like not even conservative, like whatever you want to describe me as, know what's true and often correct us. So if I came out and said, actually, something totally different from reality happened, you'd be like, no, Tim, you're wrong. Here's what really happened. On the left, they go, oh, whoa. So Trump is going to get some people to believe it. The only problem is the left will then say, I can prove Trump is lying. And they're going to get a reverse Very Fine People hoax.
I'm going to take a different stance on that just slightly, because when you showed me that, when I watched that clip that he posted and then we looked at the slow motion clip, it was like two entirely different angles that showed me, like when I saw it, two entirely different scenarios. You couldn't even really see the officer in the slow-mo clip. But the one he posted, it looked much more, it looked a lot closer to being like run over in a way.
And so, you can see him getting hit.
So I think like it's too early to judge whether he's actually like that's incorrect or not.
No. He said she viciously ran over the ICE officer.
She definitely... those tires were spinning and they were going right at the officer, and we saw that in the slow motion. But he didn't get run over. When I look at the clips, it's like I'd like to see more. Like I think it's too early to like if there's.
Come on.
When I first saw it, I was like, whoa, that's like pretty aggressive on one clip. It looked very aggressive.
She rammed him.
Yeah,
he didn't get run over.
Well, I mean,
that's some.
I think
now
they were
semantics,
good. They
I
were good
guess, but-
tires on both sides.
They were good tires.
yeah, can you imagine if they never outlawed snow chains? Who knew what time? We'd be in a civil war right now. What Trump's doing here is just framing. That's what
Right.
it is. And over the last 6 months, I think Trump and Vance both have demonstrated the importance of framing, like of controlling the narrative, these sorts of things. And so, yeah, you could pick apart and say, okay, well, did he viciously run over the ICE officers? That's not really the concern. We're in a narrative war, and Trump accurately understands that his opposition, it doesn't matter what pitch he makes towards them, they just see Donald Trump posted it and they're going to be against it. So again, I mean, yeah, you could pick apart and say, is this useful? Is this not useful? I think the framing is useful. I think the framing of like, hey, the one thing that is true is he's lucky to be alive, not necessarily because he got ran over, but because this lady would have killed him if it was the summer.
Yeah, maybe he's like overcorrecting because whatever he says, they're gonna say he's lying. So he probably figured, I might as well.
It's framing.
Go
yeah.
above and
It's
beyond.
like JD Vance has demonstrated the importance of framing. Like when that Politico group chat leak article came out and everyone on the right was throwing these kids under the bus, and JD Vance came out and said, don't really care about that. He didn't even comment on what he thought of the text. He just said, don't really care what they're up to when the AG candidate in Virginia is like threatening to kill Republicans. That's the importance of framing. Like when the catcher frames the pitch, it's like that's how this works. And the Republicans have finally learned because Democrats have been doing framing for decades, and they've controlled the narrative in every single turn. So, yeah.
I mean, look, the viciously ran over ICE officers. It's typical Donald Trump to make things as sensational as possible, and that's kind of what you should expect from the president. But it doesn't change the substance of his tweet is actually true. It's in the correct. It's pointing in the correct direction. So I understand. Some people have a problem with the hyperbolic statements. But it's boilerplate. It's boilerplate Donald Trump.
This doesn't work on the right. You're not going to trick a right winger because the right is people who are already paying attention to the news. They've already seen the video from 5 different angles. They've already watched it in slow motion 5 times. So when Trump says she ran him over, they go, come on. Normie liberals who don't pay attention, Trump handed the left a weapon where the left can now pull a reverse very fine people hoax. The very fine people hoax was bad for Democrats and liberals because I'd go to somebody and they'd be like, Trump called Nazis fine people. And I'd go, here's the video, play, watch. And they go, oh, wow, he didn't. Why did I believe that? Or the Burisma scandal. Joe Biden said, if you don't fire the prosecutor, you're not getting $1 billion. That never happened. Here's the video. Boom. Liberals are now going to go, remember when Trump claimed she ran him over? Play, never happened. And they're going to go, oh, wow.
Is it
that guy didn't get run
possible
over.
he only saw like one version of a clip or?
I think someone told him and he wrote it. He or someone in his staff wrote it. Because the video he posted, you can't really see much. What you can see is the officer did get hit and he slides back as he's being hit by this vehicle. Now, by all means, you can argue it's just overly hyperbolic, but some normie dude doesn't pay attention, is not a conservative. Here's Trump say he got ran over, and then some liberal's going to be like, play, here's the video, Trump lied. And they're going to go, wow, Trump's a liar.
You also have to remember, like, Trump doesn't use Twitter anymore. He uses Truth Social. So on Twitter feeds, everyone's Twitter feeds, it was videos of the incident. On Truth Social, he's going to see commentary. Like, people aren't spamming the video. His For You page, so to speak, on Truth Social is just going to be different commentators probably saying, oh my gosh, they just ran over an ICE agent. So, I mean, again, I'm it's neither here nor there. I think the framing is what matters here, but that could be the explanation. I don't know. It could have been a conscious decision. It could be very much like, screw these people. Like, they're not going to like me anyway, so I'm just going to, like, let it fly. And, it is what it is. I mean, again, if I'm going to frame it, I'm going to say what this lady did was far worse than Trump's tweet because a lot of people on the left
agreed.
No, I know everyone here agrees, but a lot of people on the left are going to, like, harp on this, and it's like, okay, who
There's a good point in the comments, sort of elaborating on the point that we had made earlier about the tires spinning, the officer sliding. She actually did drive into him, and he slid backwards.
Yep.
If it were not for him sitting on the ice, if it were not for the tires spinning out, and then him sliding on the ice, I mean, she very much did try to run him over. Yeah. So I'm going to walk back. When I was saying earlier that I don't believe she was intending to run him over, it looked like she was trying to flee. This is a good point. The officer slides backwards. You can see this clearly in the video. If he wasn't sliding, he's getting knocked over. And if she wasn't sliding, she's ramming into him and running him over.
Oh, if it's above freezing in Minneapolis today, they're scraping him off the road right now. That's just the reality of the
Yeah.
situation.
So, I mean, whether or not she intended to, the result would have been that he, whether or not she was
Exactly.
trying to kill him, the result would have been that he does get run over, you know?
I think when you slow it down like we did, she only turns the wheels to the right when he points the gun at her. Like, oh no, I'm about to get shot. Get out of the way.
Let's change plan.
Right. Yeah, the tires spinning out are pointed slightly leftwards at the cop.
Mm-hmm.
He would have got crushed.
He would have.
And even if you're going to give this lady the most most grace possible, which I don't think she's warranted, but let's just do that. Let's maybe steelman her position. In her head, because what she's been fed is these agents don't have my best interest in mind. They want to like deport or kill or whatever. All these people, there's these evil people. So she's like, I need to get out of here because if I comply with them, they're going to throw me in the gulag.
Right.
That's the most gratuitous explanation. Or she did intend on going out there and killing him. Either way, the fault is not on the ICE agent, certainly. Yeah. The fault is on these Democratic lawmakers who, time and time again, keep ramping up the rhetoric against ICE agents. They keep insisting that these mass deportations are illegal and it's a human rights violation, and the American people have no right to have any say over the composition of their country. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Maybe she was just trying to parallel park.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Indeed.
It would be very, very bad if she was. I mean, considering the result, getting shot for trying to parallel park. That's not good. But yeah, look, the point that Tate makes about the fact that the Democrats have been stoking the tensions in the United States ever since, definitely since 2020, right? Since the George Floyd riots, you had Maxine Waters screaming that people should be out in the streets and they should be confronting conservatives and et cetera. And this is something that is just boilerplate from the Democrats for the past 5-6 years now.
Yeah, harass them in restaurants.
Yeah.
Don't let them know any peace.
Well, that's what I said before. I said earlier in the show is like most of these Democrat lawmakers, these commentators, these talking heads, everyone on the Democrat apparatus, when they first saw the story, they obviously whatever, but they had like joy stir up in their heart.
Yeah.
They're like, finally,
care
it
about
happened.
her.
Yeah.
They've been
Yeah.
waiting for ICE to have any, blood in the water, so to speak, so then they could finally strike and they would have some sort of tweet or take
Which
ready to
is
go.
what they were waiting to happen before George Floyd happened. They were just like, oh, the next thing. Then we're really gonna blow it up.
Yep. Oh God.
Man, there's so much news today, and we were talking about this one thing. So let's jump to this next story. The U.S. military seized 2 sanctioned oil tankers in the Atlantic Ocean. One of them was Russian flagged, and it's wild that this is not the biggest story. So, the question I often get asked is World War III or Civil War, and I say, ¿Por qué no los dos?
I heard one of the tankers was just full of unsold Funko Pops. They got to get rid of them somehow.
That's why it was so high above the
Dump them in the
Full of
ocean.
boo-boos, probably.
Yeah,
Boo-boos, indeed.
as much as this is, has taken a backseat to the story in Minneapolis, this is the one that actually kind of really has global implications.
Oh, yeah.
Because this, on the heels of the action in Venezuela, the fact that the United States went and just said, we're taking these, it kind of really shines a light on the fact that, and with no response from Russia, right? Like they're not going to do anything. We're talking before the pre-show. I really think that if Russia could do something, they would, but they can't. There's nothing that they can do because the United States, when it comes to conventional militaries, the United States is untouchable.
Yeah.
Right. If Russia had massive military power, they would be able to beat Little Russia. But they've been fighting Little Russia for 3 years now, or whatever.
Is there a way that we can somehow turn an aspect of the story negative and then blame the Jews for it?
Oh, certainly. Yeah, they were. Maybe the attack, if it occurred on the Shabbat or something, it wouldn't have happened because America's controlled by Israel.
Well,
so
like which I guess we're supposed to be anti-America, so we'll just say that the ship was.
Well, I mean, it was
anti-Semitic.
It was in international waters, and so the U.S. had no right to take it. It's not the U.S.'s problem.
This is like
Does that have something to do with the Jews?
Bibi made a phone call. Because that's what he always does.
Well, I got so much, I won't say so much, it's just a few people that are quite loud on the show today when I was like, American hegemony is not going anywhere. These claims that we're sort of heading into a multipolar world were like premature, and I was one of these people that speculated this a few years ago that maybe we are entering a multipolar world, because after Afghanistan, it was hard not to think that after the, disastrous withdrawal from Kabul. But like Phil's saying, Russia is clearly incapable of conducting affairs in their neighborhood, so to speak. Their special operation in Ukraine is like into year 5 now. Meanwhile, the U.S. took out their regional opposition in 88 minutes. So I don't know how you could sort of look at that and not sort of come to the conclusion that actually U.S. hegemony is not going anywhere unless you literally just have an axe to grind with America. Our global adversaries are just incompetent at every level. And like Phil said, we're still the top dogs when it comes to warfare. There's no question about it.
I heard an interesting conspiracy theory. Have you guys been monitoring the conspiracy theories on this one? Like outside of the jokes about Jews? That the tanker was carrying something else. Something was on this the U.S. wanted to get.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even think that's a conspiracy theory because we know it was empty, but the Russians were escorting it with submarines.
Exactly.
So clearly there was some sort of munitions or
maybe it's the real Maduro.
Dinosaurs?
Maybe we got the fake Maduro and they put the real Maduro in there and he's hiding.
Well, I think what's most likely is if you look at the videos from the invasion, so to speak, of Venezuela, the operation of Venezuela, is you really don't see much anti-air resistance, and it could be that either they were waiting on a delivery from Russia or Russia already knew what was going to happen and took it out. Because they need that for their, their war. And
we should. What is it called? The MacGuffin.
Right.
Yeah. It's just a MacGuffin.
Yeah.
Do you guys know what a MacGuffin is? It's a plot device that it drives the actions of the protagonist.
Oh,
so
I thought
it's
it was
like
a breakfast sandwich.
Oh,
McMuffin.
Sounds like it.
You mispronounced
or
it.
the goober.
Right.
It's like when a plot needs someone. What movie was it? It's the new Leslie Nielsen where he's trying
Naked Gun.
Is it the new Naked Gun? He's trying to recover the PLOT device. It's literally called the plot device. Yeah, that was good. That was funny.
Yeah.
I like that scene where he talks about how he shoots an unarmed guy in the back, but you get to the one.
It's just like this is another example of a topic that when exposed to the masses, you're just going to get like nuclear coal, like just horrific takes. Like I made the point on the show that a consequence of us flooding the market with Venezuelan oil is it will negatively impact Russia. It will negatively impact Iran. I'm not saying Russia's entire economy is energy. I'm saying a good chunk of their economy is energy. And yes, it's going to slow down their machine in many, many ways. And people are like, yeah, but what about Saudi Arabia? They're an ally. That's going to negatively affect them too. I'm like, we don't care about Saudi Arabia. We care about Russia. That's our global adversary. You can agree or disagree. You can be in love with Russia. I'm just saying from the point of the Trump administration, they view Russia as an adversary, and this is a way to undercut them. It's like very simple. And so it's just like the masses trying to participate in this conversation. And I'm not a geopolitical expert, but I'm like not a retard. It's just so
what
annoying.
Is the argument? Is the argument that the U.S. should allow all of our adversaries to do whatever they want outside of our borders?
Yes. That's legitimately their argument, because when they hear, oh, the world is shifting into a multipolar world and maybe we should account for that, what they hear is America should just give up because Russia and China are like this, the reality is they're like paper tigers in a lot of ways, because every time they try to conduct affairs, it's a disaster. China hasn't fought a war in like 30, 40 years, and they're certainly not making any moves on Taiwan. If they thought it was a done deal, they would have done so by now. And so it's like a meme at this point. Like it's laughable, the idea that China is like this like emerging power and they're going to overtake the U.S. Where is that? Because the U.S. just black bagged a president in the middle of the night, and it was easy by all accounts. They were back home in Miami for the Friday night nightlife. Like
they're still working on Temu deliveries.
Yeah, they're like snapping together iPads. Meanwhile, we're like hanging out in Miami, and we're like, should we just topple Venezuela real quick? Yeah, why not? Yeah. So it's like, I understand where these people are coming from. Maybe they view America as being a global hegemon as bad for the world. Even if that's your opinion, at this point, even prominent commentators who echoed this rhetoric prior are actually sitting back and saying, yeah, the U.S. still is the unipolar power. Like, there's not much you can do about it.
To your point about the idea that the U.S. being the global hegemon being bad, they're saying that in a context where you don't know what it would be like if someone else was, right? The U.S. has been the global hegemon for 75 years or whatever, since the end of World War II. And you can't imagine how bad it would be if Russia were the country that were actually the global hegemon, or if China were the global hegemon.
Well, it's like a spoiled kid. It's like, your parents have always been rich. You've never known.
And when one of us make a sort of a criticism of America being the global hegemon, we're doing that because we are fundamentally like America first, so to speak. Yeah. So we were like, let's just focus on our own affairs. Let's focus on domestic issues. That's why maybe we should withdraw from the international scene. When they're saying it, it's because they're fundamentally third worldists, and they just really resent the fact that the United States is big and powerful, and that really bothers them. Like, nothing angers these people more than seeing the Apollo mission and seeing the flag on the moon. So it's like, it has nothing to do with like like well-constructed critiques against like, okay, well, maybe we're overstretched internationally. No, they just hate the fact that America's. That's why they hate the British Empire. That's why they hate the French Empire. They just hate like when Western powers do well. They would rather. That's why they like celebrate like Burkina Faso. I mean, you see these people like these Jackson Hinkle types online where they're just like glazing like Burkina Faso, and they're like, whoa, they just figured out how to export tomato concentrate. It's so over for America. And it's just like, because these people aren't actually like giving well-leveled critiques.
What's next, the
of
wheel?
Yeah, literally. Yeah, they might figure out how to stop like touching kids or something. Like these people are backwards. You do not want these people in charge of the world.
But if you ask somebody like, oh, would you have a Somalian or would you have an illegal in your house? No.
Yeah, literally. So it's just like you just can't. You got to tune these people out because they just do not have America's interests in mind. They view us as a global hegemon as bad because it's America fundamentally.
It's daddy issues.
It is. It is. Unironically, it's daddy issues.
Yeah,
they view the West as Christianity and Western culture as this like paternalistic thing, and they hate their father, and so they hate it by extension.
Yeah, like if you hear the left yelling, abolish ICE, I just hear, I hate my dad.
Yeah, literally. Yeah,
they got grounded and they were pissed about it,
What
and
it all
they never
comes down
got
to.
over it. It was just, Dad, you've just ruined my life because I can't take the car tonight or whatever. And
And then they run over their dad.
right? I mean, that's what that's what she saw. She saw her father's face in the Ice Age, and she was like, Dad. Yeah, I mean, look, the whole idea that the United States is not the military powerhouse that it once was, that is completely wrong. The hit on the Venezuelan president, right, to go and capture him. To think that it would be difficult for the United States to do those kind of things, like getting in, I understand that that's actually fairly shocking. Like getting in and defeating their air defenses and stuff. That's impressive. But the actual hit itself, we have been doing hits like this for the better part of 25 years, and we've become exceedingly good at it. The United States. I was making this argument maybe a year ago when we were talking about what would happen if the U.S. actually had to deal with the cartels, using the military. And the cartels or Venezuela, they are just not prepared for what the United States can do when it comes to force-on-force kind of attacks. The U.S. has been going in and nabbing terrorists or killing or capturing them forever. Don't forget, 14 years ago, 15 years ago now, right? 15 years ago, we flew into Pakistan without Pakistan being aware of it, killed bin Laden, grabbed his body and left.
Yeah.
And that was like, they're a nuclear armed, power. Like they have legitimate air power. They just got into one of the biggest dogfights since World War II with India.
Yeah.
And they won the battles because they had Chinese equipment that works pretty well. But
the Pakistanis were all busy doing telemarketing scams. So
they were.
But Phil, have you not seen the videos of the Chinese soldiers goose stepping?
I know,
they look
right?
really poised to take over the world.
They do. But at the end of the day, the U.S. has been doing hits like that for 25 years. And the guys that, whether it be SEALs or it be Delta guys, those dudes know how to take a structure and go in and get the bad guy. Even people that talk about, the raid in Mogadishu. The problem with the raid in Mogadishu was the dude that fell off the Black Hawk, not the Delta guys. The Delta guys landed, got the job, grabbed the guy they wanted to grab, and got him out. And then everything went to hell because the guy fell off the Black Hawk and they took an RPG. But that wasn't because the Delta guys couldn't get in and get the bad guy. This is something the U.S. has been doing for ages, and it's something that the U.S. has become exceedingly good at.
And we also have a population, this is unlike any other country on earth, we have a population of young men who literally dream of doing that. They literally are fascinated with these sorts of operations. They play video games. I know it's derided on the right broadly, but they play video games like Call of Duty because they dream of doing that. And so it's that's what separates us. Because the other ones, they just dream of goose stepping and saluting their leader. Where in America, we're I don't care who the president is. I want to go and do some cool things.
I want me and 24 other guys to go in, kick in the door, and take everybody out of the building.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. So
and
it's
then go get a tattoo together.
Yeah. So we're just fine tuned for excellence. As Americans, our country, our culture, up until recently, has been fine tuned for pulling off amazing things like this.
Yeah.
And a lot of these people hate that. A lot of these people want to sort of put that back in the box and whatnot. But there's no question about it.
That's actually a really good point. That the idea of excellence is something that the United States has aspired to forever, whether it be, putting a man on the moon or
Black
what
excellence.
have you. Yes, even black excellence. But yeah, like the idea, I want to be the best of the best. I want to be able to beat everybody. It's something the United States has always taken pride in being able to do.
This is why this is going to be a cringe take, but I need everyone to bear with me because I'm right on this. So everyone needs to bear with me. This is why, like, everyone at this table can agree that movies have, like, sucked for the last 20, 30 years.
20, 30 years?
Yeah.
I don't know about 20, 30 years. 10 years?
Bear with me for this take, everyone. So we can agree movies have sucked, certainly for the last 10 years.
Yes.
Timothy Chalamet comes out, and he's, like, accepting an award, and he's like, I want to be great. I want to be the greatest. I want to make the best movies ever. I want to go down in the history books. And he got, like, laughed at for that. And I was, like, looking at that, I'm like, that's actually a really American thing.
Yeah.
Because right now the problem with Zoomers and by extension younger millennials is they're irony poisoned. So everything in the world they can't take seriously, and anybody that's taking something seriously is cringe and gay. So Timothy Chalamet coming up and saying that was like oxygen, because I was like, a dude that actually just wants to be great, and even though it's like acting, it's something that he wants to just dominate and be the best at. And I sat there and I was like, where has this been? Because this entire generation is plagued by nihilism, crabs in a pot mentality, and ultimately just think it's cringe when anyone takes anything seriously. I'm like, that's a very ancient American virtue.
It's like Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
It's amazing.
We're going to jump back to the Minneapolis story. We got this news from Axios. Democrats are threatening a government shutdown after the Minneapolis shooting. What? Okay. Well, rank and file Democrats are starting to make serious noise about using the threat of a government shutdown to force substantive changes at ICE. Their anger after an ICE officer shot and killed a 37-year-old woman in Minneapolis set them on a collision course with party leaders. Chuck Schumer said earlier this week the shutdown was not on the table. Blah, blah, blah. But progressive lawmakers see the end of January funding cliff as a leverage point to exploit as they fume about DHS Undersecretary Kristi Noem. So I'm just going to say this. The Minneapolis shooting is an excuse. There was going to be a shutdown at the end of January the whole time, because if you paid attention to when they passed the bill temporarily averting the shutdown or ending the record-breaking shutdown, it exempted them and a few other key areas. And so I remember talking to my wife about it. She's like, so wait, they're exempt? Yeah. Till when? I think September. But then what? Everything else stops in January. Oh, so there's going to be another shutdown. Yeah, but they're fine now. They basically said, pay us and we're good. Everything else can shut down. We knew this was coming. This is an excuse.
Yep. Yeah, everything that they've been doing thus far is just them waiting on something they can latch onto, then execute on their goals. Because the reality is they're out of power. The reality is the avenues that they have back to power are rapidly being cut off, and they do not have a monopoly on information anymore. So all they can really do now is just set up plays, and they just need certain like cards to be played, like certain cards for the dealer to lay down for them to be like, finally, I can execute on this plan, because they don't actually have a lot of political viability right now. The only pathway they have back into victory is if the right just completely self-destructs.
They haven't leered anything.
Yeah,
correct. Yeah, so true.
They're still historically low approval rates for Democrats.
Yeah,
so as they need Republicans to do things that they can latch onto and infuriate their base, because right now no one likes the Democrats. They've got half the party thinks that they should be like Mamdani and AOC and Bernie, and half the party thinks that they're just completely and totally inept.
Because they're used to the Republican Party being the perpetual perennial opposition party and being the party of managing the decline in a little bit slower way. They're not used to a Republican Party, well, really an administration, because the GOP by and large is still useless, but they're not used to a Trump administration or a Republican administration that's actually like actively pushing the country in a different direction, that's actually providing an alternative vision, and that freaks them out, and they realize like, oh crap, we don't have an admin that we can play ball with. We don't really have many options. We don't have many levers of power.
I also think they're losing a lot of funding from all the rackets they've had around the world, like whether it was through USAID, whether it was this Minnesota stuff that we saw over the holidays. Like all their funding is kind of getting cut off.
Yeah, USAID is.
That's going to give them a lot less legs going forward.
So they're desperate.
They're very desperate. They're not going to have that ammunition they had in the past.
Well, we got this post from Gunther Eagleman. It says, CNN is doing everything they can to make this woman into a George Floyd 2.0. And it's in Minneapolis. So surprise, surprise. Here's the, let's play the clip.
Hospital at this time. Let's go to Laura Coates out front in Minneapolis. Laura, what are you seeing there?
There's a huge crowd of people gathered within blocks of where this woman lost her life at the hands of an ICE agent. And I can tell you, I went through the crowd today, and there is anger, there is frustration, there is extreme sadness. I spoke to a group of 3 sisters whose father had been deported during the first Trump administration in 2018, and they expressed that they wanted to be here because they could not believe that they believed somebody was killed just trying to present their voices. They didn't want anyone to go through the devastation of having to navigate what it's like to have ICE, they say, terrorize a community in the way that they had experienced. Others in the community who were nearby expressed their frustration and shock at this being just a few blocks away from where George Floyd killed. They also expressed they had felt this way even before this tragedy happened today. They were afraid that ICE would, one person telling me, in actuality, do more than what is required under the law just to satisfy the President of the United States. Now, there has been mixed reaction in terms of the reaction of the administration stateside in Minnesota, but also Secretary Noem and President Trump's own social media posting. But the real frustration, the murmur you're hearing everyone talk about, is recanting exactly what happened. And there is a consistent drumbeat and a through line here, Aaron, and that is they do not believe that they were entitled to shoot this woman. They do not believe that there was any imminent threat of bodily harm. And as you well know, there's a kind of a phrase, kill or be killed, that can govern the activity of law enforcement. Whoa. If they are in imminent bodily harm, of imminent lethal harm to themselves or others, they can take action. Many of them are recanting how they could simply have sidestepped the vehicle and still have been safe. It is eerie tonight to see how this has all transpired in a year. There's always been so much tragedy here in Minnesota, from the shootings of a political lawmaker to, of course, Annunciation School recently, and everything in between. And of course, George Floyd looms large here, knowing that this is the very jurisdiction in Minneapolis where it was law enforcement who spoke up against the excessive use of force and got the conviction of one Derek Chauvin.
Oh, here we
They
go.
want to make this like an activist
All right, Laura Coates,
tourist destination.
You know, I was thinking, you know, Trump and Rubio and the administration and Stephen Miller talk about how we can reduce a lot of these like violent crimes and rapes by deporting these illegal immigrants. Have they considered deporting white liberal women?
I don't think they have considered, but they
help.
should.
Just, you know,
Send them back.
you're a white woman. Are you a liberal? Yes. Gotta
Out.
go.
Awful's out.
Awfuls.
Are you married? Do you have cats?
Are you married? Do you have cats? Then it's okay. Are you married? No. Do you have cats? Not okay. Then you gotta go. You gotta
Send them
go.
back. I'm not sure where back is, but they should go back.
We can create an island and call it Themyscira, and we can welcome all of these women to run their own country and send them there.
Guantanamo Bay.
Just constantly pumping The View over loudspeakers.
Yeah, the language here on CNN, these are activists. Did you guys see the fight over CBS that's been going on?
In
Barry
Netflix.
Weiss.
And
With Barry
Weiss.
which CBS fight?
So Barry Weiss comes in, takes over the news, and then you get this guy, what's his name, DeCouple or whatever is this anchor, and because he's just reporting news, the corporate press, like Brian Stelter, are freaking out.
Wow.
He literally, there's a 17-second segment where he goes, Donald Trump accused the Democrats of misleading people on January 6th. However, Democrat leaders have said that Trump is trying to rewrite history. And that's it. And they're like, how dare you? It's like, well, what should he have said?
Wow.
He should have said Orange Man bad. And because he didn't. So you look at CNN and they're still very much on this train of, why don't you all do a George Floyd? CBS is now starting to be like boring and neutral again, the way news is supposed to be.
Wow.
CNN is still like, can we burn everything down? That'll be fun.
else
Good
do
for
they
ratings
do?
too.
Yeah, and CNN was basically the kind of the flashpoint for the whole hands up, don't shoot thing with Michael Brown.
Mm-hmm.
And that led to, Ferguson being burned down. And then that's what led to Black Lives Matter and to the riots in 2020. So, I mean, they are, it's agitprop in pure form. Like it's just agitation propaganda. And they're looking to see, people get out in the streets and perform the same kind of riotous activities that they did in 2020.
Yeah, we got this tweet. Andy No says, wear a mask, learn to shoot, do this immediately. Antifa linked far left extremist accounts like Vitalist Int are telling comrades all over social media to recall the lessons of the 2020 BLM Antifa riots to engage in violence now after the anti-ICE car rammer was shot dead. Oh boy.
They're chumming the waters. They're like, who's going to take it this time?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, well, I don't think they expected consequences for these things. I mean, because they were allowed to operate with impunity for so long, and that was the status quo. And so they've been telling people, go obstruct, go yell, I mean, do whatever you need to do. And they don't expect, like, actually the agents are going to, when their lives are threatened, react.
I want to tell you guys a story. Did you know, do you know why people don't chew gum in Singapore?
Oh, yeah, because if you throw gum on the ground, they'll cane you.
That's correct. So when you go to Singapore, the streets are beautiful. You go to New York, it's like a zebra, like you're walking across, like literally. Have you ever actually just looked down and looked at all the gum stuck into the concrete? So in Singapore, they made gum illegal, and you will be caned. So no one chews or spits gum.
With a sugar cane?
Something a little
and
more.
It's public
certain,
too,
yeah.
I think, where they're just like, bam, and it like lacerates your skin. The point is, why is it that a woman thought she could obstruct federal law enforcement and then flee? Like, vehicle ramming aside, like, what made this liberal white woman be like, I can just do this?
No consequences.
Exactly. We have seen for the past several years 0 consequences for far leftists. Now let me put it like this. Why does someone think it's okay to chew gum and spit it on the sidewalk and stay in the sidewalk? Because we don't care about that. We don't enforce against it, and there's literally no activists being like, ban bubblegum. Singapore does. Different culture. The point being that the same way you feel about chewing and spitting gum, which is like, whatever, I guess don't do it, is how these people feel about obstructing ICE. They're like, it's fine. I guess no one really cares. So they're going to, and they're going to escalate. There's a question then that some people have been asking. And I wonder, do you guys think leftists may actually stop after this? Because some of these wackaloon lefties are only going out because it is socially acceptable. How many of these lefties are going to be like, I don't want to die?
I think they're going to use it to create more theater like they do with all the Handmaid's Tale role playing, you know, like cosplaying stuff that they would do. I don't know. I think they're just going to use it to be like, oh, like, if we protest, we could die. Like, our life is in danger if we...
Maybe. I don't know for sure, but I do think it's a fair assessment if one were to argue. They're going to be like, I was just LARPing. I don't want to get shot.
Yeah. I do think they react to strong power in some ways. I mean, it was like with Singapore. What was this, like the kid, Michael Fay, I think was his name, and he went over there and he like spray painted a bridge, and then they gave him like 6 lashes. And like his dad was like Bill Clinton's buddy or something, right? We have a Singaporean here, so it helps. And he like bailed him out because a lot of Americans, obviously, we have, and I think sometimes it's a good thing, but we do have a sense of entitlement to these sorts of things. And then we go overseas like Brittany Griner and think we can just like do things the way we
rock
do things
the
back
ganja
home.
in Russia.
Yeah, and the next thing you know, you get smacked down. Guess what? They're not doing that again. Why? Because most people do react to power. Most people do react to strong power, order, et cetera, et cetera. So I actually agree with Tim. I do think these people in some ways are a lot of talk. There's going to be a contingent of them that have nothing to lose. They don't really care. But a lot of people like on the left, on these far left, maybe far left aligned or adjacent, probably will actually turn. That's an unpopular opinion with the base, but I do think some of them will react to this and go, oh, geez, I don't want to get shot.
I hope it quells some of the like recreational activism. You know, it's like, all right, it's not that important to me. I'll go do something else.
What if Trump just came out like on TV right now and just said like, to all of the protesters fighting against ICE, we're going to shoot you. We're just going to shoot you. We're just going to pull out our guns and bang, and you're gone.
Donald Trump, if you can hear me, please save me, Donald Trump, please. Just kidding. Disavow. We shouldn't do that. But it would work. I think a lot of these people are talk, and they view, because you see at these protests, at these riots, they have like photographers that take photos for Instagram. That entire contingency, that entire group is gone.
But do you think that some of these people are going to get offered hazard pay by their employers now?
Yeah, probably.
Well,
USA
is going to be like, you get time and a half now because Trump might shoot you.
Yeah, if you get shot.
They have really good health insurance now.
You get well, you get a bonus, but you get hazard pay. It's like, you know, so if you're one of these, here's my advice to the paid protesters, just, you know, demand time and a half.
Yeah,
like, look, I'm risking getting shot here if I'm going to show up for work to pretend to be an activist.
Literally. Yeah, but there's always going to be the contingent of people with nothing to lose, and they've already cut themselves up, or they've already like, you know, wrote off their families, so they just have nothing actually to fight for outside of their sort of vision for this communist utopia. Those people aren't going anywhere. Those people are going to continue to agitate.
There's some real radicals out there, and they're going to continue. And then you have like the media, like CNN, that will fan it and make them feel good about it.
I think CNN's going to crumble though. With like the CBS shift is massive, and I think there's an institutional play. I think CBS brings on Barry Weiss because, as we've identified with CNN for a long time, they used to do real news. They did. I mean, it was always kind of corporate and milquetoast, but at a certain point, they became the anti-Trump network. This cost them a lot of money. Their viewership collapsed. CBS, I think, was the exact same boat. And they were like, yeah, we're going to go to business. Our news division's cooked unless we figure out how to reverse this trend. I think the corporate news entities are going to start excising. You guys see what happened with the Hilton hotels?
Yeah, I actually think CNN's like they're gonna sell to someone. And
Oh, yeah,
it'll
for
be
sure.
it'll be
For
new
like the fifth
owners
time.
within like a year.
I mean, we could probably afford them. What do they cost? A couple $1 million? They're so cooked at this point.
Yeah, there's a reason why Netflix didn't even want them. Like when Netflix was acquiring Warner Brothers, they literally, I was reading, you can read, I think it's in The Economist, that Warner Brothers was like, we'll throw it in.
Yeah,
and they were like, no, what are you, crazy?
Did you guys hear about what happened with the Hilton Hotel?
Yeah.
So DHS tries to book rooms at this Hilton Hotel. What is it, like Lakeview or something? And then they say, no, DHS. So then Hilton gets contacted and said, no, we've reached out to this company. Everything's good. Nick Sorter goes in and says, can I book for DHS? And the guy goes, no, I just talked to my boss. We won't book you. So Hilton excised this one hotel from the Hilton network. And it might even be the company itself, because I think it was like some company owned a bunch of hotels in the Hilton network. Hilton was like, no way. So culturally, big companies are like, we do not want to get involved at this point. CBS did this big shift. CBS ran an article in early December before Nick Shirley went to check out the Somali fraud stuff, calling out the Somali fraud stuff. CBS News did. And now they have an article after Nick Shirley where they said there have been something like 96 indictments and 62 convictions. CBS News saying, yes, tons of Somali daycare fraud. They've been charged. While all the other outlets are like, no, it's a lie. It's not happening. And just lying to their audience. I think the trend that we're seeing with big corporations after the Bud Light effect is largely, yeah, okay, we're not going to join the losing team on this one. And so sanity seems to be winning.
They're probably like, it can't get any worse, so we might as well try to be neutral.
Well, and now that CNN's getting spun off because this Netflix deal is going to happen, they have two options. One, they can moderate and try to get sold to someone, or they just turn into another MS Now, as they're now called. Yeah. And all that's going to happen is their audience is going to bail and go to CBS News, and they're going to get much better reporting.
Bro, they've
probably
got
moderate a bit.
Yeah, corporate America's changing, and we see it like at Rumble. We actually see it like walking into agencies, talking to advertisers. It is changing, and it's slow, but there is a real shift happening in corporate America where they don't want, where they're at a point where they're completely boycotting like Rumble, and that's done. That completely ended in 2025, and now they all want to talk. So there is a shift.
When do you think they start firing HR managers? Because that's the real linchpin right there.
I think that might already have started to happen at some of these companies. Like I'm getting that impression, and a lot of people at the top of these companies are surprisingly, from what I'm starting to see, are maybe more on our side than we thought they were, but they were kind of being run by these HR divisions, and there's no more tolerance for these HR divisions anymore with Hilton. It's like it's changing. It's taking time, but it is changing, and I see it firsthand.
But I think this also it's more than just they're saying, okay, let's talk. I think there's an advantage now that Rumble's going to have for being viewed as more authentic than these other spaces.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lingering taint on these networks and on places like YouTube because of the censorship. They're either viewed as having bent the knee to special interests or of being the special interest themselves. So moving forward, the way Hilton's being like, we don't want to get Bud Lighted.
Yeah.
Rumble's got that side, right? You should be able to be like, hey, you don't want to get Bud Lighted, right? Work with us.
Yeah,
not in the threatening, but in like these people are with us, be on the right side of things.
And that has happened. Like just in 2020, like 2025, you had Netflix advertise, you had Chevron advertise on Rumble. We didn't have anybody like 2 years ago. Couldn't even talk to these people.
Well, they're realizing like, we bought ads on these woke networks and we got made fun of and insulted. So maybe that's not the right way to go, right? Could you imagine being Chevron and buying ads on YouTube? every comment is just F you.
Yeah.
There's no nuance. There's no reason. There's no rational. Like the Rumble audience is going to be a mixed bag. You're going to have people saying things like, you know, I'm critical of the oil industry for these reasons, maybe like Jimmy Dore. But then you're going to have a moderate who's like, yeah, I'm not a big fan, but we do need oil. We operate on oil. Then you're going to get a conservative going drill, baby, drill. You go on YouTube and it's largely just Chevron commercial gets an auto flag. Climate change is real and Chevron's bad.
Well,
why would they want to advertise on those networks?
This has already happened. Have you seen on Instagram, anytime there's an ad, because you can comment on Instagram ads, no matter what the ad is, every comment, and you can go see this for yourself, every comment just says, nice try, Diddy. It's like it's the most funny thing, because like a lot of people are kind of just fed up. They don't take Instagram seriously. They're just kind of forced to use it because it's just the public square.
That's
for
where all the hot girls
Zoomers.
are.
Yeah, it's so true. And most of them. And it's so true. And so yeah, every time like people see an Instagram ad, they don't even take it seriously. It's just like, oh, nice try, Did. It's really remarkable.
I'm trying to find an ad right now so I can.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Might have died off
The
a little bit,
View.
but last year, like especially, it was every single comment would just be nice try, Diddy.
Nice try, Diddy.
Yeah.
Well, the chats in on YouTube are, you know, pretty toxic as it is.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean that's what you get when you can basically say whatever you want. You know. So.
Well, as far as advertisers coming to Rumble, I mean, surely it's just obvious math where they're running an ad on CNN and they're just not seeing traffic driven, and then they run an ad on Rumble and they're like, whoa. I mean, I would assume that's what's going on.
Yeah, no, like one of the things that we have noticed is that the audience on Rumble has been like we've been existing on direct response with all our shows and, you know, all our advertiser direct response advertisers up until like 2025, which means we have to sell stuff. We have to sell bags of coffee, we have to sell insurance, we have to sell things, and if we don't sell things, we don't get ad dollars. It's a very ROI based advertising model. When in 2025 that starts changing, you get crypto.com, you get Chevron, you get Morgan & Morgan, you get other guys walking in now spending money on Rumble, where the ROI doesn't have to be the same thing
They just want
that
ubiquity.
on the other networks. Whereas if you're looking at Twitch and Amazon, they're getting ads that they don't care at all if they get conversions. It's just pure CPM based. It's pure eyeball based. And whether it's real eyeballs or not, it's a whole different debate.
Yeah.
But it's a completely different game. So we're stuck like really trying to provide the best experience for the advertisers and making sure that they get the best ROI. But where these other platforms are fighting for, you know, just eyeballs.
Okay, I'll do a hot tub stream.
Now you got the.
I'll take one for the team.
Let's give us a couple minutes. You got the Rumble wallet. So this is like what? It's like a Venmo kind of competitor. I don't know how would you describe it?
Yeah, so the Rumble wallet it's a non-custodial, meaning like we can't control the Rumble wallet. If you lose your password, you lose your seed phrase, you're going to lose your money. We can't even help you get the account back. We can't freeze it. We can't touch it. We can't cancel it. You own your Rumble wallet.
So it's a real wallet.
It is a real wallet, non-custodial wallet. When you look at Coinbase,
you can't ban anybody from it.
Correct. When you look at Coinbase, their main wallet, they have a non-custodial one that's not very popular, but their main one is custodial. They can freeze it, they can shut it down, suspend it, whatever. So ours is different than theirs in that sense, to their main one. I would say we compete. We're fiercely going to compete against Coinbase with our non-custodial wallet, and obviously, and then eventually compete against Venmo and all the other payment transmitters. But the idea here is Rumble wants to create freedom finance. We want to create freedom everything, whether it's freedom of speech with media, whether it's freedom of infrastructure for you to build on our cloud, or whether it's it's digital free finance where we can't touch your wallet. We want everything that we do at our company. We want to make sure that you own it, and it's based on the freedom ethos. And that's the vision that we have at Rumble, and we want to build that across our ecosystem for everything that we do. We want to get into AI, which you own, not what we own, but you own, you control with your biases, not our biases. We just want to be the underlining supporting infrastructure for you. And we're going to build an entire ecosystem to compete against the Googles, the Amazons, and Microsofts and all the big tech companies. The way I see them is that they're all about control, bias. They're censorious. They want to own everything that you do. There's no privacy. And we want to take the complete opposite approach: freedom, independence, decentralization, privacy, data sovereignty, etc. And we think the world will go that direction. Rumble is big because the world has gone somewhat in that direction. It's not all of America, but a big part of America has gone in that direction, and it's not getting smaller. People desire this. So that's what we're building. And with the Rumble wallet, it allows, me and you to send Bitcoin, USDT, which is Tether, and XAUT, which is Tether Gold, freely. And
just to clarify too, for the people who don't know, that Tether is basically $1. It's just a crypto holding for $1.
Yeah, it's a stable coin that's backed by U.S. Treasuries, and it's basically one Tether token represents $1 US. It doesn't move with the price of Bitcoin; it stays steady with the price of U.S. dollars. And XAUT stays steady with the price of gold. So you can buy.
Bro, you can tip someone in gold.
But you can also buy gold. With the Rumble wallet. The coolest thing about about XAUT is that if you go in your stock trading account and you buy the GLD or you buy like any of these gold ETFs, there's like a 40 basis points management fee every single year. So you're losing 40 basis points on the price of gold every year because the ETF is managing it. Mm-hmm. There is no management fee when you buy XAUT. And on top of that, if you want to go redeem your XAUT for physical gold, you can go to this vault in Switzerland and redeem it for physical gold. You're not going to be able to do that with the GLD. Mm-hmm. You're buying every single time you buy XAUT, Tether is going and buying the physical gold and putting it in the vault.
I hope the leprechauns are listening.
Yeah, real.
Get me gold.
And you can go and tip it to Tim Pool if you like his stream.
Indeed. All right, everybody. We're going to go to your Rumble rants and Super Chat, so smash the like button. Share the show with every single person you know, and I mean it. Call your dad right now. Say, Dad, it's been a long time. I've missed you. Are you watching Timcast IRL? I'm sorry about what I did to your car.
Tell him you love him, too.
Yeah, that's right. Or grandma. Or mom. Have you called your mom? Call your mom. Then tell her that I told you to call her, and she'll like the show, and she'll be like, I like this. He said call mom. Before we get out that, we got a great sponsor for you. It is Bearskin. Oh, boy. My friends, you've heard of the Bearskin hoodie because you watch the show. You know, and you need to get one now. Ooh. Smart people are grabbing theirs now because when it's already freezing, you want the gear that actually keeps you warm. Bearskin is running a 60% off deal right now, so you can finally upgrade the sad excuse for a winter hoodie you've been suffering in. You've been suffering, trust me. These hoodies are built for serious cold weather. It's got 340 GSM of bearskin fleece, 10 legit pockets, a muscular fit, and even zips into the heavy storm rain jacket to turn into full winter waterproof armor. Whether you're into hiking, hunting, traveling, or just hate being cold, it's the last hoodie you'll ever need. You'll get the free U.S. shipping, fast delivery, and you're finally kitted out properly for winter, so it's a win-win. Do yourself a favor, text the word TIM to 36912 to lock in your 60% off. Again, text TIM to 36912. You'll get a link sent straight to your phone so you can check it out later if you're busy right now. And when you shop with Bearskin, you're not just getting killer gear, you're also supporting the fallen outdoors and the Hope for the Warriors Veterans programs. Don't wait till you're freezing to realize your hoodie sucks. Get Bearskin now. While it's 60% off, text TIM to 36912. You can also check out BAER.skin/Tim. Thanks for sponsoring the show, guys. Now let's grab your Rumble rants and see what y'all have to say. Doobie McNasty said, we need to make an awful pult. That should do the trick.
I like it.
Don't ask me to try it out.
Trebuchet.
Right. A trebuchet, indeed. Jacob Hawley says, Minnesota has activated their National Guard units and said they did it to preempt the federal government from taking them. He is clueless. Supremacy Clause and Title 10 man, Civil War coming. Nuts. Yep. NNY says, Tate, wife is legal immigrant. Am teaching her to drive in U.S. Had a custom banner made for front and back windscreen that says, caution, Asian female driver. She doesn't think it's funny, and I disagree.
Dude, you're looking out for her safety. And, well, more the safety of the other people on the road. So that's total patriot.
That's pro-social behavior.
That is pro-social behavior, and she just doesn't get it. She doesn't know ball. You're a patriot for saving all of us on the road who now know to stay clear. So thank you, sir. Thank you for your service.
As an Asian, I thank you, sir, for warning people about my people.
Right. Oh, yeah, I keep forgetting you're Asian.
Yeah. Yeah, it was funny because I was playing poker, as every story I have starts with. And some old Asian guy made a racist Asian joke and started laughing, and then went, no, you cannot say, only I can't say. And then everybody started laughing, and I'm sitting there being like, I can say it.
Yeah.
Look at me.
Like, it's really weird when you go to dinner with Tim and then he like brings his own chopsticks. That's like a really bizarre moment.
Yeah, but they're really nice, like hand-carved bamboo ones.
Yeah.
And people don't know this, but when we go to Asian restaurants, I always try to be welcoming to the servers. So I talk a right dish to them. So they think that, like, oh, you're like me.
Yeah.
It's funny because I wonder if there's someone out there who's really offended by that.
Absolutely.
Like I can just be
It's
myself.
the weirdest.
Remember when Shane Gillis got canceled for doing that?
Yeah, literally.
Well, I'm Korean. I'm allowed. I'm just imitating my my grandmother.
Your people.
Yeah. You know, my people. It's an homage.
It's really weird when you go to a steakhouse with Tim and then you finish your meal and then he hands you a fortune cookie. It's really the most bizarre.
I have a bag full of fortune cookies, you know. But those are actually American tape.
That's what I heard.
Yeah. And chicken tikka masala is Scottish.
It's true. That's my people. So whenever I see Indians, I get a little fired up. I'm like, hey, you kind of stole my people's cuisine here. What's going on?
Like, how much time is required to pass before it's not stealing? Because, like, what happened was, you know, after the British went to India, stole all their spices, brought them back, and brought people with them, some, like, 200 years later, some dude in Scotland was like, I'm going to make a dish that's kind of like Indian food, and invented chicken tikka masala. So it is from Scotland, right?
Yeah.
Or is it stolen from India?
They should have brought back deodorant.
Yeah, so true. So true.
Man, Instagram is just loaded with, I don't want to say racist, but racial jokes. There's an AI video. There's actually a bunch of these. And I'm wondering why they're going so viral, like why Instagram's allowing it. But it's the shower Olympics. And it shows people running. It's like the 100-meter shower dash. And then like Danes like run through it. And then Americans run through it. And then Indians run and stop dead at the shower. And they're like, they can't go through the water. I'm just like, why is Instagram allowing all of these videos?
Like kryptonite.
Funny.
There was an AI video where it was swimming and they're all on their blocks and then they jump in and the Indian swimmer jumps in and a brown cloud forms and all the other ones jump out of the pool.
And then they come out white the other side. Like,
Yeah.
Jeez.
I was like, I need an AI label on this. That could be real.
I saw a Chinese commercial for washing detergent where they put a black guy into the washing machine,
That's funny.
and an Asian guy came out.
Yeah, I remember when that happened.
Mm.
Everybody,
only
like,
that
all the woke
worked.
people were really angry about it.
Yeah.
Like,
Just to
calm
think,
down.
for every AI video of like an Indian with the deodorant or whatever, like we burn down an entire forest of like fun, you know, with a data center clearing out an entire Virginia suburb just to make this one video.
Yep, 10,000 gallons of water.
Yeah, literally. Like
It's funny, it requires an obscene amount of water to make a video about people who won't use water to clean their bodies.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Cup of Soothe says he was hit twice, once by the bumper, once by the mirror, the slide.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So then the second and third shot were justified.
Recato Law for President says, per Robert Gouvier, even if they hit him with state charges, the officer has the right to transfer it to federal court because he was a lawful federal officer conducting work. The question now is, does the ICE agent live in Minnesota? Typically, feds who are working in there, they're going to live in that area and then just work for the federal government.
Yeah.
Got to live somewhere. Maybe he was flown in because Trump was deploying 2,000 troops into the state. This matters because if he's got a home and family there, you know the state's going to take everything from him. And he will die in prison if he allows them to charge him. So the question is, what is he? Look, that agent should have been on a plane 10 minutes after that out of the state because they're going to be like, hand him over. And Trump's going to be like, no, this was federal law enforcement action. We're not going to let you do this.
Wow.
It's going to be interesting to see what Trump does and if this guy is sticking around. Look, if he lives there and he's got family and kids, you think he's going to leave? He's going to say no.
It would be like
If he does, he better get that kid and his wife or kids and get him on a plane and get the F out.
Get him out.
Yep. It's going to get
It's
bad.
not safe.
Nope. He's got to go into hiding. They're coming for him, man. All right. Thuvia says she doesn't get the benefit of having her intentions or motivations examined by ICE agents when she's trying to ram them with her SUV. Agreed.
But that's what the left will demand, right? Like they're going to say, well, he shouldn't have been afraid. And if he was afraid, I saw a tweet saying, if he was afraid, he shouldn't be a police officer, et cetera, et cetera. In these kind of situations, you don't have the time to sit there and really think about what's going on. A lot of the stuff that a lot of things happening fast and you just react, you know, and they are trained to react like this. This is likely a good shoot. So
Philip Mitchell says, imagine if they had this vigor when an illegal immigrant kills an American.
Huh, yeah.
Yeah, literally.
Why would you do that?
Yep. Misfit Brad says, politicians getting on TV and inciting people to action as if everyone agrees is creating a need for the silent majority to act. There was a mob around ICE. A lady died for people who wouldn't die for her. Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah.
They're cannon fodder. Like we said earlier, they're the people on the front lines because they want to have the propaganda. The left is going to do everything they can to capitalize on this and demonize ICE and Donald Trump and the right, et cetera. So.
I think the other protesters that were working with her should be charged with murder. They should be arrested. So I'll put it like this. If you and a group of boys decide you're going to go commit a crime, and one of the guys in your crew pulls out a gun to shoot a cop and is shot and killed, they can charge the rest of you with murder, putting you at fault for the death of the criminal who tried to kill the cop, saying your crime created a circumstance in which someone died. They should say she's dead because you all conspired to engage in an illegal, felonious action, and now you're all going to bear the brunt of it. And I say this because Rogue Atlas, Rumble Rants, Democrats are yet again trying to use this to incite a reprisal from their base. If arrests are not made, I am done voting. I will sit it out and watch it all burn. I am tired of spineless Republicans, and I do not disagree. There's got to be action. These people broke the law, and what's going to happen is Democrats are going to blame the ICE agents who were aggressed upon instead of the people who are literally breaking the law. So those rioters and people obstructing law enforcement should be charged. And maybe it could be a light charge, like obstructing an officer or whatever charge. Maybe get 3-4 months in jail, but it needs to happen. The Fed's got to bring charges.
Yeah, they were agitating all day.
Yep. All right. Bike Curious George says, I'm a former Minnesotan and Minnesota Army National Guard soldier, 2014 to 2020. F. Kim Jong-Waltz. I left the state due to his dystopian authoritarian COVID policies. He's a communist-loving POS. Indeed.
Yeah, it's a bit tragic that he's dropping out because he would have actually been not too formidable for presumably Mike Lindell. I mean, that's the main reason he dropped out. I think was he postured it like it was him taking accountability for this sort of thing that happened under my nose, and I'm so sorry. But really, it's some internal numbers got slid onto his desk, and he went, "Oh, all right, I gotta get out of here."
Running for vice president was one of the worst things that he's done in his career.
Yeah,
It didn't pan out.
That or eating white guy tacos.
Yeah,
it's just beef and cheese.
Yeah, the whole white guy thing. Like, I mean, look, there's a lot of Somalis in Minneapolis, but like Minnesota's still a predominantly white state, right?
Yep.
And to sit there and basically disparage white guys, like you're not gonna win. You're not gonna, curry favor that way.
He's trying to like curry favor with no pun intended with like white women. Basically.
Yeah.
Rawflo says, like I always say, 100,000 sperm and they were the fastest. You're spot on about the vehicle peel out. The officer needs a beer and a couple days off. The woman needs a proper send off, a dumpster. Ooh.
Oh.
Brutal. But there is something to be said about Tim Waltz being the fastest. So this is actually true. Male sperm is faster because it has less weight, because the Y chromosome has less information. And so when you look at someone like Tim Waltz, you have to wonder about the quality, considering he's what got through. Mm-hmm. Man, we're on fire today. Shout out Rawflo for the layup. Love VA says, Trump wrote an executive order withdrawing the U.S. from 31 United Nations entities today. Do you think he is slowly withdrawing the U.S. completely from the UN? Did you also see that he wants to ban institutional investors from buying single-family homes?
Yeah,
I saw
that's
that.
cool.
Housing
That's
prices is
exciting.
going to collapse. Bro, he's excising a large portion of the buyers from the market right now. I'm not saying it's good or bad. It's just a fact. I own a lot of properties. I fully expect the property value to...
The question is, what do they do with the existing properties? Do they hold them?
Yeah.
Or do they
Craigslist.
or do they start selling them off because it's not a...
Well, that's
the big question.
Here's the thing. Trump's threat is probably the point. Because now the investors are going to be like, sell before we lose money on the deal.
Yeah.
So they're probably going to start dropping the prices to offload these things. I think Trump
Smart.
just knows saying it is going to make prices come down.
Yeah, he'll shake out the institutional investors, and then also with the mass deportations, that'll also free up a lot of housing supply. So it's really two factors coming in that really should drop things down. And I'm starting to believe again. I'm starting to sort of allocate a nest egg for a down payment because I think it's going to happen.
A good first week for 2026.
So true.
Sir Shrek says, just saw Nick Sorter post National Guard Blackhawks are flying over Minneapolis right now. Wow.
Yeah. It's the Somalis seeing the Blackhawks like, no,
They're not excited.
I told this story
They're not happy.
last week or whatever, or actually a couple days ago. I was playing poker. There was a liberal guy, and he said, "I don't care if a couple bucks out of my paycheck goes to help people in need." And I said, "The Somali daycare fraud isn't people in need; they're just stealing the money." And he's like, "I'm not going to be fear-mongered by that." And I said, "Yeah, but there are Gen Z people who can't afford homes because of this degree of fraud." And he's like, "I don't know." And then literally the guy like one seat down from him goes, "I'm 43. My wife and I make a combined $300,000 a year, and we've just been able to buy our first house." And I'm like, exactly. This machine doesn't work. People are going to lose their minds. Yeah. So something's got to be done.
Yeah, it's blackpilling to be a Zoomer, and you're literally driving around a city that's not even necessarily like a hot real estate market, and you see like 3-bed, 2-bath homes that are literally starter homes. You pop up on Zillow, and it's like $500K, and you're just like,
you have to outbid a boomer for it.
Yeah, outbid a boomer.
Who
and
owns
like
3 houses already.
Yeah, and or like an MNE that has like unlimited money. It's just like you're cooked. Or like 13 illegal immigrants are gonna like all camp in the same. It's just ridiculous.
This is an important one. Cyber Slates says hearing reports of the woman shot was from Colorado. Out-of-state actors. That's right. This woman traveled across state lines with a deadly weapon.
Cross state lines.
Cross state lines.
Who paid for that?
That's instant prison. Just going across state lines.
Yeah.
At least that's what they told me.
So true.
It's so true. We also have, what does this one says? This Kickleberry says tipped via Rumble wallet. Look at that, 15 USDT. Let's go.
I need to like get a hat that has like, I don't know, my Rumble wallet QR code. So it's like bypass Timcast, go straight to me. I want to go to Switzerland. I want to cash out my gold and hold it in my hands. That's what I want.
And then carry it back.
Yeah, I'll carry
Man,
it.
that carry-on's going to cost you a
So
lot
the
of money.
QR code's on every channel. People can tip you anytime.
I know.
So everyone download the Rumble wallet. In the
I'm going to
iOS
Kinko's
store,
tomorrow. I'm going to
Android
be like
store.
loaded up. It's going to be great. Yep.
Kyle says, Chris, congrats on the new rollout of Rumble Crypto Wallet. I've been a strong supporter of you and Rumble since first seeing you on IRL at launch. Wanted to ask if you've heard about DOG. It's the #1 meme coin on Bitcoin.
DOG?
Is he
DOG?
referring to Dogecoin?
He's trying to pump it is what he's trying to do.
Right, probably. I remember.
So this is
bro, dude, I got a story for you guys. I think I told it on the show already. I was at a poker table, as all of my stories do together.
A theme.
And there was a guy who abruptly goes, like, he's like, "Man, if this prediction's right," he holds up his phone. "Here's how much money I'm going to make tomorrow." And it was $420 million on a calculator. And then I was like, "Oh, how are you going to make that?" He's like, "Well, I've been hearing, like, people have been talking about this cryptocurrency, and they were saying it's about to jump up to like $70, so I just bought as much as I could." And then I was like, "You bought XRP, didn't you?" And he goes, "Yeah." And then everyone at the table, they go, "Oh my God, dude, you just like sell it now." And he's like, "I'm up like a little bit." And everyone was just like, "Get rid of it." Yep. And he was like, but it's going to go up to $70. And then one guy's just like, "No, it's not." And he's like, "Well, there was a video on TikTok," and everyone,
oh no.
This is exactly why we've only went with Bitcoin, a stable coin in US dollars, and gold stable coin. Yeah. We want to keep it simple. We don't want our audience doesn't like. There's a lot of people that don't know much about crypto. We don't want all these different coins that have crazy volatility that can wipe out people's wealth. So we're trying to keep it super simple and super clean and super honest.
I have Venmo, and I only have it because someone was like, "Can I pay you? I owe you money." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And they're like, "Well, I only have Venmo." And I'm like, "I don't, and I don't use it." Now I'm going to do the inverse. I'm going to be like, "Oh, well, no, I don't use Venmo. I use Rumble Wallet. So why don't you download Rumble Wallet, and then you can load money in and pay me with that?" Like, I'm not downloading your app. You download my app.
And it's also interchangeable with all wallets, right? So if they have a QR code and you get their address, you can send it from Rumble Wallet to their other wallet.
Yeah,
so it's very interchangeable.
I think the Tether thing is what makes it viable for regular people, because one of the problems with all the crypto wallets is, like, the fact that I can open the wallet and I can literally just go to your Rumble account and send your Rumble account. It's easy to find, and it's your name. Go to a regular person and say, "Here's my 16-digit hash code," and they're going to be like, "Ugh." And then you have these scams now where people are making addresses that have the first 3 and the last 3 of your address. So people, and then they trick people into sending to the wrong address. So it's like, I look at phones, and I'm like, actually, Tate, how many phone numbers do you know?
My current one and my last one. And my mom's. And
your mom's.
Yeah.
Isn't that's wild? When we were all young, how many phone numbers did you remember 20 years ago?
Oh, at least 15, 20.
15, 20 maybe. More, probably.
Yeah.
We used to, when we were younger, but phones don't need it anymore. Now you just take your phone and you bump it to the other person's phone and you have their contact. So when you want to call them, now you use your voice AI assistant. You go, beep, call Tate, and I don't know your number.
Right.
It just calls them. That's how crypto makes it to the next level. When I can open the Rumble wallet and be like, send Chris money, and it's through crypto, it's through Bitcoin or Tether. That ease is how regular people can be like, oh yeah, I have some Bitcoin. It's really easy for me to send it. I just, Chris on Rumble and boop, done.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I like about it.
Well, you gotta have like a verb because it's like, oh, can I Venmo you? So it's like,
can
you run me real quick?
Can you run me?
Yo, run me that. Run me that. Yeah.
Run me that.
We need that. We need a verb.
We need a verb.
We need desperately.
Rumbucks.
Yo, yeah.
Rumbucks. Rumble me that money.
Because you can't use you can't bowl me. That's just weird. Yeah.
All right.
Workshop it.
Build Baby Build says, I'm an ex-Antifa working to expose what I know.
Wow.
My channel here, the Triple B Collective, is where I can be found. I'd like to speak with y'all. Stay safe. Oh, glad to hear it.
On Rumble?
Yeah. Like, I always say this, too. I met a communist in Berkeley wearing a bandana with a sickle and a hammer on it. He had a little table set up with a bunch of communist books. And I walked up and I said, how's it going? And he was like, how's it going? And then I said, what's this all about? And he goes, I'm handing out free literature on communism. And I said, okay, what's communism? And he was like, I think that the resources should be shared among the working people, and, exploitation of the working class makes powerful people wealthy. They're not contributing labor. Day traders make money by doing nothing. I said, okay, well, what about the communists that have been attacking people violently in Berkeley? And he said, that's awful and wrong, and that has nothing to do with communism. And I said, I disagree with you completely, and I think you're wrong, but I respect you for trying to have a real conversation about your ideas. Thank you, sir. And I shook his hand. So I don't care if you're actually Antifa, so long as you are not okay with using force to make people do what you want.
Yeah.
I mean, like physical violence. By all means, you can be persuasive or whatever. So if there's someone who's like, I'm an anarchist and I think Trump's evil and a fascist, okay, what does that mean? Well, I'm going to have a debate. You're welcome to come on the show and debate it. But if you're one of these wackaloons who's like, I'm going to burn things down and murder people, I'm like, you should be in jail. You are the problem.
Tim, that's what makes you a good man, because when the Venezuela strikes happened, I was in Scotland. As soon as I see the news, I'm fired up. I walk outside. There's a Communist Party of Scotland tent set up. I just walk by and go, you like that? You like that? Like, I was getting like the most American accent possible. And
you have southern twangs to make sure they know.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, I was you like that? So, maybe I should have debated them.
The problem is that experience I had, it's like it never happens. It's like winning the lottery. Anytime you see a tent from a lefty and you go up to talk to them, they're going to insult you. They're going to refuse to talk. And I'm like, I have no respect for that.
That's why you just flex on them.
You just literally flex. Like that? Look at me. I'm a man.
Yeah. Why aren't you in the gym, yo?
All right. Let's see what we got here in the old chats. What is this? Tother Weirdo says, where was the left's fury when the unarmed Ashley Babbitt was shot in the face by a cop a few years ago?
She had the wrong politics.
See, I think the hypocrisy doesn't follow the right, it follows the left on this one. They celebrated Ashley Babbitt, who looked through and being killed. The right complained about it. The right is now mad that a woman in a car was speeding toward, literally hit a DHS agent. You're allowed to be mad that an innocent woman was shot in the throat, and that you're allowed to be mad at the woman who tried to ram the cop. The left is batting 1,000 in the inverse. They're happy the innocent person got shot, and they're defending the one who tried to hit a guy. Or, literally hit a guy. I was saying about the Krasensteins. There's nuance in all things, but how are they batting 1,000 on being evil? Like, every time something happens, and the Somali daycare.
We're hungry.
The Somali daycare thing is not policy. There's no left or right in this. It is an individual or individuals who are known to have committed fraud. This has been known about for 10 years. For some reason, people like the Krasensteins are just like, no, they're good. And I'm like, how are you batting 1,000 on being on the side of evil?
It's just Trump.
The salami daycare is run by the Italians.
Yeah, we like those.
It's pork, so obviously it's not the Muslims.
Somali.
They just counter signal Trump is essentially what it is. So
their brand.
I'm sick of salami. I could go without. Let's go back to.
Are
turkey.
you joking? I got big bags of salami in the fridge. It's amazing.
Turkey. Let's go back to ham.
No,
we know to get all
bro.
cute, Tim.
Italian dry salami with cracked peppercorn and garlic, and then I got garlic dip.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, bro.
Prosciutto.
Yeah.
We're trying to
it is kind of funny how you could just reverse the M and the L, and you've got one thing you really don't like and one thing you really do.
So true. You really like Somalis.
All right, let's see what we got going on over here. Final warning, final 6 warning says, protect and avenge white women. Riot. Tim Waltz, basically.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the viral clip going around? It was that woman on the Trigonometry podcast where she's like, oh, when institutions tilted female, you got all of this. Like, that's true. That's what it is.
Yeah, literally.
Like, the law schools are 55% women, and now all of a sudden we're getting these precedents and laws that are like woke weirdness.
Yeah.
So in other words, repeal the 19th.
Making a good case for it.
It even happened in conservative media. Like, as soon as women really started getting involved in conservative, all of a sudden it turned into like TMZ overnight.
Oh,
Now
yeah.
there's,
Yeah.
like,
Like
daddy
Bridget
issues and
McCrone's got a
everything.
penis.
Women that are involved in conservative media aren't really conservatives. They're just like wearing a costume.
Yeah.
That is really funny. The criticism of these prominent conservative females, the trad cons, when it's like, shouldn't you be married and like focusing on your family and not running a business?
Yeah.
And then they come back and say, I can run a business if I want to. And it's like, yes, you can. It's very feminist of you.
Yeah, literally.
That's exactly what
I'm
it is.
just here to get out of the house.
Well, I don't consider you a traditional conservative.
Yeah, I don't know what I am. Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I'm talking specifically about the content produced by women where they're like, women should be good mothers and shouldn't be masculine and running businesses. And it's like, indeed, you're doing that right now.
Yeah.
I honestly don't care, though. I think it's like, I don't think that's necessarily hypocritical. I think you can be a traditional conservative woman who wants to have a family and has a family, and then you produce videos on the side. Like, women could always work, you know? There's just something about the society where it's like telling women to put on suits and be CEOs instead of being moms.
Mm-hmm. Ban pantsuits for women.
They're not flattering.
All right, let's grab one more here before we go. Freeman says, for Chrissy, will Sunday Simpcast streams come to Rumble? I'd watch over there, you hear me? Sincerely, Freeman Dice Clay.
I think I stream to Rumble in addition to the other channels.
Well, I mean, you're on the spot right now. I mean, the CEO's staring at you.
I definitely do. Maybe I should go.
Chris is like,
maybe I should go exclusive.
There you go.
Maybe we should get serious.
Maybe.
All
He's
right.
deleting a 0 from the Rumble tip right now.
I think your catchphrase could be like Rumble, just the tip. I don't know. Maybe you could use that for your.
That's pretty good.
Right now, he's like, our branding, no.
The marketing guys on the texting, I'm like, what are you, no, cut this out.
All right. We're going to go to the uncensored portion of the show over at rumble.com/Timcast IRL. So smash the like button. Share the show with literally everyone you know. Call your mom. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Chrissy, did you want to shout anything out?
Oh, yeah. Just follow me on YouTube. I got interviews and lots of content there, and Twitter.
Where?
Oh, at Chrissy Bayer.
Download the Rumble wallet. Let's get us up on the charts in the finance category. So go on your Play Store or App
We should have
Store
led with
and download the Rumble wallet. You can find me at Chris on Truth Social and Chris Pavlovsky on X and Chris Rumble on Rumble.
We should do a big push for that. If everybody should download it so it boosts up in the charts and then surpasses all the other apps.
Yeah,
there we
Love
go.
that.
Yeah.
That's what we're going for here. Let's do
Yeah.
it.
Let's go. Tate,
go.
what's going on?
X and Instagram at Real Tate Brown. I'm trying to get the 10K on X. Come on, guys. Come on. I need all hands on deck. So I do post a lot of slop, so I can understand if you don't want to follow, but it's totally understandable. Download Rumble Wallet. Got the hat on. I love this hat. And I'll see you guys tomorrow on the Noon Live.
I am Phil That Remains on Twix. The band is All That Remains. We're going on tour. We're going to be on the road with Born of Osiris and Dead Eyes starting April 29th. We're starting in Albany and we'll be on the East Coast mostly. You can check out the band at Apple Music, Amazon Music, Pandora, Spotify, YouTube, and Deezer. Don't forget the left lane is for crime.
We will see all of you at rumble.com/Timcast IRL in about 30 seconds. Thanks for hanging out.